and the other side. Country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, Uber can't bitch, and look like Mr. Potato Head.
I didn't want to be a movie star.
No, you couldn't be a movie star. Ricky Smiley can't act, cause Ricky Smiley can't act. Why is he in a dress again? He didn't be wanting to Barbie, and you gotta tell him no. Sid ain't got no special, you remember? Eve ain't got no special, you remember? Ricky ain't got no special, you remember? Sir, I have 12 comedy specials. P. Diddy or whoever you is, TDJ, 20 of them. I won't stop burning you down until there ain't nothing left. Rubble on top of rubble, and I'll still be bombing. Look like a wall, Richie. Look like a wall. Look like a wall, Richie. Look like a wall.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Poppin' tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadayAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadayAShakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, also on X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you should ask yourself, why are you here? Okay, why are you here? It's what you should be asking yourself, beloved. Okay, hey, Pearly. All right, Veronica, Anita Harrell, We the People. Mel is here, Shawshana. All right, let's get into it. Sandra, Cookie is here. All right, Sheila Askins. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get it started. I see you, Chris B. Okay, so with that all been said, likes up, everyone. Grave Diggers is here. All right. Let's get into it, Terry. Everybody hit that like button. Now, before we get started, let's have a brief sponsor at 12 Tribes. Okay, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
So don't forget to purchase 12 Tribes at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and also you can find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get back into it. They are back from their break. Okay, the court was adjourned until 1:15. All right, so Cassie should be back on the stand. So let's get into it. Now, here's the latest. The jury shown more text between Cassie and Diddy. The jury is seeing some messages from 2013, which showed Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura planning a freak off and discussing which escorts they should invite. Okay, it's just one more person knowing our secret, Ventura said in the messages. Now, she testified Wednesday that she was referring to the shame of the secret of the freak offs. I didn't want to do them, and I just didn't want to be a part of that, she testified. Now, in another text from January the 7th of 2017, Ventura told Combs, nothing good comes from these FOs anymore. Okay, referring to the freak offs. You treat me like you Ike Turner, she wrote. Asked what she meant by the Turner reference, Ventura testified that Combs was abusive and controlling. I mean, he was actually physically abusive. He put me down a lot. As much as I was built up, I was put down quite a bit. It's also the just sheer embarrassment, like how he treated me in front of other people. Well, I can imagine. But I want you all to pay attention to something. Now, she referred to Diddy as Ike Turner. Okay, that again speaks to domestic violence. Okay, not trafficking. I'm still not seeing the trafficking yet. Okay, maybe we'll get there. So then the jury was dismissed for lunch at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The parties are still in the courtroom discussing text messages, and the defense wants to bring in during the cross-examination. Now, after the lunch break, the jury's expected to see footage of some of the freak-offs. Okay, Ventura has been testifying about this, and earlier today, privacy screens were put up on the court monitors. Okay, so Cassandra Ventura, the former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, and one of his accusers returned to court after providing 4.5 hours of testimony. Okay, these are the key details that Ventura told the court. Okay, more about the freak offs. Ventura testified it was her job to hire male escorts using Combs' money. She said she avoided kissing them because it made her squeamish. But when Combs would request it, she would do it. She told the court Combs frequently threatened to release videos of her in the freak offs when he was mad. She said, I fear for my career. I fear for my family. It was horrible. It's disgusting. So no one should have to go through that. No one should do that to anyone. And then she spoke about the physical violence. Okay, Ventura said there were times during the relationship when she would try to fight back after Combs hit her, but she learned that it could escalate the fight more and make it worse for herself. She also said that Combs assaulted her in front of an escort on several occasions. Okay, then Combs gave her a black eye and a fat lip. Okay, when he allegedly assaulted her at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016. She testified that her friend called the police after that incident, but when they questioned her, she wouldn't tell them who did it. Later, Ventura testified that she could hear Combs banging, kicking, and yelling outside of her door to try to get into her apartment, which she described as being pretty normal for him. She also said that he texted her after the altercation saying, I got 6 kids. Yo, please call. I'm surrounded for my kids' help. Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is all so nefarious. So Diddy's sitting up here just flat out lying, running the game, honey, trying to bring his kids into it. He has no shame. Okay, he has no shame. talking about, please, for my kids. First of all, if he was in fact surrounded by the police, what is Cassie calling him back on the phone going to do? Okay, you see the manipulation tactics of a narcissist and a sociopath, because that's exactly what Diddy is. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. He is so ridiculous. Anyway, so other allegations. Ventura told the court that she was woken by Combs yelling at her friends while she slept in her apartment in August of 2013. He said that she should have been packing for a trip. She told the court her friends jumped on him because he was trying to attack me. And when he did throw her down, she hit her eyebrow on the side of the bed. Ooh, I know that had to hurt. Okay, so she said she got a pretty significant gash and had to see a plastic surgeon that day. Ventura said she preferred taking ketamine, okay, during the freak offs because it was the most disassociative drug with a D. She told the court that in 2016, Combs requested a proper FO without using the ketamine. She later testified that she would use opiates after a freak off as well as taking IV fluids and getting massages. She testified she had regular gastrointestinal issues from the rugs, and she took frequent urinary tract. She had frequent urinary tract infections. She also said the events left her feeling empty. Oh, crazy. Okay, so Combs' twin daughters are not in court today because they're traveling for their prom, sources say. Okay, the prom at the Los Angeles area high school the twins attend is scheduled for Saturday. The daughters, Jesse and Delilah Combs, were present for all of Cassie Ventura's graphic testimony on Tuesday. Now, the teens left the courtroom during a portion of the testimony from a male escort on Monday. Okay, they returned for a brief period, but then left again when the testimony continued in a graphic and sexual nature. A third teenage daughter, Chance Combs, is also absent from court today. Okay, Combs' 3 adult sons and his mother are in the courtroom. They're sitting in the rows behind Combs as they have been since Monday. So prosecutor Emily Johnson says she expects to finish Cassie Ventura's direct examination sometime after lunch, but before the end of the day. Now, after prosecutors finish questioning Ventura, the defense team will have an opportunity to cross-examine her. So at 1:45 is when they'll continue. So we have about 3 minutes. Judge Aaron Subramanian said court will continue at 1:45 p.m. The lawyer spent the entire planned break talking about court proceedings. Okay, because I thought I was late. In talking about what exhibits the defense might submit into evidence, Sean Diddy Combs' attorney, Tina Garrigo, said Cassie Ventura's direct exam went differently than the defense had expected. So they're adjusting their strategy. Woo, I think they might be worried, honey, about Cassie's her direct exam, because some people are saying it was very compelling. Now let's read some of the comments online. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. Let's see what the people are out here saying out here in these streets. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. More importantly, what are you all saying? What do you all think? Okay, but I still want to see what people are saying online about the proceedings. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here's what it says. Also, guys, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you haven't been receiving those notifications. You know how people get unsubscribed mysteriously. Okay, so here's a comment. Here's some comments right here. I'm going to read some of these on X. This one person by the name of Jonesy said, this should be live streamed. This is ridiculous that we aren't able to watch this trial. It absolutely is ridiculous. You know, they said, you know, back in probably the 1800s, I think it was, the early 1900s is when they said that you couldn't record, you couldn't bring cameras and stuff into a federal trial. But at the end of the day, this is the trial of the century. There's no way we shouldn't be able to see it, okay? They should let it be streamed online. It's time for them to update these nefarious laws that are just decades old. Okay, and then someone by the name of Kena says, today's testimony is much more convincing of these charges. He trafficked Cassie and flew her to different states. He beat her and blackmailed her to keep her compliant. I was only convinced of the DV charges yesterday, but today there is clear proof of trafficking. Well, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. I haven't seen any trafficking yet. Okay, now Bad Gal QB says, I don't see how Cassie is helpful to the government's case. She should be a co-defendant. Oh, well, somebody wants Cassie locked up with Diddy. Okay, somebody else says unroll. Not sure what that means. Someone else by the name of Morgan says, I'm interested in seeing how they will tie this into the actual charges. They got a lot of work to do. Well, I'll have to agree with Morgan on that. Then Darius Tan says, sham trial. They are out to get Diddy for sure. He may be a bad man, but they offered a deal to Ventura not to press charges on her because she is clearly complicit in all of this. All in all, the case is just bad from a prosecutor's side, and the charges don't fit the case presently. Well, it sure is looking like it. So what do y'all have to say? What do y'all have to say? Do you all agree? Mel said the feds are so different from the state. Well, I'll tell you what, they better get to it because they're not proving their case thus far. At least it's not as far as I can see. All I'm hearing is a bunch of DV. And no matter how they try to flip it, rub it up and slap it up and rub it down, at the end of the day, it still sounds like DV. I still don't see any trafficking. I'm sorry. Okay. Gloria said, is this live or repeat? Girl, this is live, honey. This is live. We did an earlier broadcast, okay? That ended when the court went to lunch. Now we're back, and this is new, okay? Adrian said, I agree with the comment on X. Which one, beloved? Which one? Okay, so anyway, they're getting back. So while we're waiting for them to get back, they're supposed to be coming back in at 1:45. So they should be just now getting into the courtroom. So I'm going to let you all have a little music while I pull up a video for us to check out until we get more updates coming in, okay? Here we go. Another Queen Amadaya production. Wrong one.
Lights shining down in the moonlight, girl, can't help but feel this connection flow with every move. Go along the floor where you smile. Makes me want more. Heartbeat and sing. At the sound of soul, tonight we dance. Just lose control. I can't resist. Go where you move. It's in this. Your power is vision. Like the stars above, this night is ours. Wrapped in our love, but badness plain. Our melody sweet, can't help but feel the rhythm in my feet. Even like that. Like the earth is spinning. Our love's a dance where we both live. You got that groove.
Now let's get back. Chosen One said we grooving, okay? And so with that all being said, Truth Montage said, what's the name of that track, Queen? Oh, honey, I don't even remember. Hold on, let me check real quick. Y'all know I'll be doing all this music. Hold on. What did I title that one? It should have been on the cover. Hold on. I don't know, honey. I don't even see it all of a sudden. Hold on. What did I do with it? Okay, here it is. That one is called Rhythm of Connection. Okay, and this one is called Serene Reflections. I'm going to play this one and then we're going to get back into it. so let's get back into it. OG Patrice said, I heard Cassie just identified and confirmed Jonathan Ides' claims. Listen, I'm not surprised. At the end of the day, we can now see that everything that Jonathan Ides said in 2018 was all facts. Okay, it's already been confirmed, far as I'm concerned, honey. All this stuff that he said is exactly what Diddy's victims or accusers are all claiming. Okay, from the sounds of it, Diddy is nefarious with his freaky deaky self. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the TMZ video that we were listening to before the break, but I'm going to put that overlay back up because I don't need any problems with ScrewTube, honey. Y'all know they be hating on the poor little old queen. I'm just trying to do my job. Okay, so then after we listen to this, we're going to go back to Breakfast Club. If you all remember earlier this morning at the first broadcast, I played what Lauren had to say about the testimony from yesterday. And so I'm going to play the second half of what she says. Okay, let me find this. Okay, here we go.
Did you want Sean to urinate on you? Cassie, I didn't want anyone to urinate on me. Prosecutor, how often did it happen? Answer, often enough. And then, prosecutor, why didn't you say no? And this is what the defense is going to seize on. Cassie, it was obvious I didn't want to be on the ground being urinated on by two men. And then she says she never explicitly consented. Well, here's the thing about that. She says she didn't explicitly consent. The real issue is, did she explicitly object? And that, again, is what the defense is going to seize on in this case. That to convict Diddy, you have to show he did this against her will.
And here's the thing. Because they have been doing this so frequently and so much and so long, they've been doing it for years. The defense is likely going to try to argue that if Cassie didn't explicitly say, no, I don't want to do it every single time, then how would Diddy know that he would have just assumed that she was enjoying it because this is what they always did? That's what they're likely going to say, okay? So just be prepared for them to say it. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. You know, somebody said in the comments that I showed you all from X, someone said that she should be a co-defendant. Well, she would have been. I'm quite sure the state gave her, they gave her some kind of deal for her testimony against Diddy because, of course, she is nothing more, in my opinion, than an unindicted co-conspirator. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I still don't like the fact that Cassie was sitting there. Chosen One said, I know she feels humiliated all over again. Well, I'm sure she does too. I mean, who would want anybody to hear any of those things? Who'd want anyone to know any of those salacious, nefarious details? I'd be humiliated too. All of us would. Who could be proud of that? No one. But the bottom line is Cassie was absolutely complicit in this stuff for a long time. I'm sure at some point she got tired of it and was ready to get out of there. But she said herself that she did that stuff because she loved Diddy. Honey, it ain't that much love in the world as far as I'm concerned. And then here's the thing. Now, Diddy is nefarious and he just is so ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. But the thing that gets me is when yesterday, I'm still not over yesterday's testimony when Cassie sat there and tried to pretend she was all sweet and innocent. I just am not buying that. Talking about she didn't really know about sex before she got with Diddy. She didn't know about fellatio. This was her first adult relationship. No, it wasn't. Girl, you were dating Ryan Leslie and he was 8 years older than you. And you can't tell me that you were dating a 27-year-old man when you were 19 or whatever and you didn't know anything about sex. Okay, I'm not buying that. That just sounded like a bunch of BS, like she's trying to make herself sound like she was so innocent and acting like she never wanted to do any of this stuff, but Diddy put her up to it. I think that she absolutely wanted to do this stuff. Now, not every single time, but at the end of the day, I think that she absolutely enjoyed doing this sometimes, point blank and period. Okay, and I know some of this stuff sounds gross and crazy, but honey, if you knew what some of these rich people do behind closed doors, okay, I have inside information on what these freaks do. Diddy ain't the only freak in Hollywood. I want you all to pay attention because didn't they say that R. Kelly was putting golden showers on people too? Okay, didn't they say that? And didn't they say all this stuff that happens at this place that I'm not going to name because y'all know YouTube will put a little notification on the video. But y'all know that place that Alex Jones said that he snuck off to in the 1980s and he recorded it. He got footage from that place. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And they say that some of the presidents have gone there and whatnot. Y'all know what it is. It's a secret club, and y'all know exactly where it's at. Okay, and it starts with a B. I'm not going to say it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, these people do some nefarious things. Like I told you all, that movie, 120 Days of Silo, shows how the elite get down. And lots of them do the same stuff that Diddy has been doing. And I believe he learned it from them. Okay, I believe R. Kelly learned it from them. I just think this is something that goes on in the industry. And Remember that I told you all about the Menendez brothers' father in that movie about them on Netflix. They showed the father at a hotel with a young man who was clearly an S worker, and he put on that crown on his head like Caesar and then told the young man to crawl to him. You see, these people with all this money and power, this wealth, not just rich people, you know, who are just millionaires who barely made $1 million or $2 million. I'm talking about these big billionaires. Okay, these people really are into some extreme things. And I don't know if it comes with the territory, because it really seems like it does. Because I want you to think about all of these people being accused of such are billionaires. Oprah has had things said about her with tunnels and doing things with children over there in Africa and all that stuff, building up that school for all kinds of nefariousness. This has all been alleged. Okay. And we know that she was hanging out with John of God. Okay. A whole freak who's got like what 400 some years in prison for rape and assault and just being nefarious. Then we know about Harvey Weinstein, another billionaire, Jeffrey Epstein, another billionaire, Diddy, a billionaire. Okay, at the end of the day, they tried to come for Jay-Z, a billionaire. I'm just saying, do you all think it's a coincidence that these people that are billionaires get accused of all these nefarious things? No. Do you think they're not doing something nefarious? I think they're doing all kinds of sick rituals and all kinds of things. At the end of the day, that would make your skin crawl if you ever walked up on them and saw how they really get down. Okay, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, Peter Nygaard, let's not forget about him. Vince McMahon, let's please don't forget about him. Michael Jeffries, all of these people doing these sick things that we've all heard about. Okay, yes, Prince Andrew, where is he at? Okay, and speaking of Prince Andrew, so sad, prayers and condolences again to the family of Virginia Giuffre, who's now deceased after that poor woman was trafficked when she was a teenager, okay, and went through pure hell. Now, that woman is a victim of all victims, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, but at the end of the day, some of these people are complicit in their own demise. And I think that's just what Cassie was. Cassie should have left Diddy a long time ago. From the day that she sat there and saw how Diddy was treating her and asking her to do all this stuff, I think that Diddy didn't even really care anything about Cassie. Just from listening to all this stuff, I don't think he even cared about her at all. I think he just wanted to use her for his fetishes, wanted to manipulate her mind because she was young and naive. Okay, and he just took advantage of her and used her for his own gratification. Now, is that trafficking? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think that's trafficking at the end of the day. They haven't proven trafficking, but I do think he just wanted to use her to just have his fun. And that's what a lot of these older men do. And they get these younger women and they just cake them up with money and take them on trips and all of that. And you're supposed to just do whatever they want you to do and be at their beck and call. That's what this is all about. And then you put up with it because you want to keep the money and live in a lavish lifestyle until one day you wake up and realize you really still don't have anything to show for it. Bumps, bruises, permanent scars, and, you know, all sorts of bad memories and things like that. But did they really give you any money for yourself? You see, the thing about people like Diddy is Diddy's not going to get with some woman and sit there and just cake them up and give them, you know, money to start their own business. You know, money, just give Cassie the record deal that she wanted. He's not going to do that. Now, he told her he signed for a 10-album deal, but she never even did the 10 albums. That was the plan. Because people like Diddy know that they can control you more so when they hold the purse strings. When you don't have your own money, you can't sustain your own lifestyle. So you need them. So you constantly keep going back, allowing them to dog you out, okay, making you do freak offs and this and that, have you laid up with all these random men doing all kinds of degrading things to you because this is the lifestyle you want to live. You want to be living with all these, you know, these A-list, hanging out with these A-list celebrities and all this stuff. It's not even worth it. Okay, it's not even worth it because now here we are 20 years later and you still have to look in the mirror at yourself. all crazy. And then talking about not even letting them use protection. How disgusting is that? No wonder they said Diddy has herpes. Okay, I'm just saying, just all disgusted. At the end of the day, Diddy should be ashamed of himself. But you know, the bottom line is Cassie has to own up to it because she allowed these things to happen. She was complicit in some of this. Okay, Fox's World said Cassie is a grown ass consenting participant who wanted that lifestyle without taking into account there is a process to make. I have to agree. And some people will get mad for saying that, for you saying that, but that is the truth. I absolutely agree with you. Chosen One said, I would just live a regular life. Definitely not worth it. It is not worth it. It absolutely isn't, beloved. Okay, Lisa said Diddy knew Cassie's career wasn't going far. Let's be honest here. Cassie cannot sing. She just has the look. That's another thing. Yes. Okay, Cassie's career wasn't going anywhere. And we already know because Diddy's the same person who signed Mary J. Blige. Okay, Faith Evans. He knows what a singer is. Cassie did just have a look, but her voice was never anything to brag on. And so Diddy was just running game, honey. I just wish Cassie had never met him. I bet Ryan Leslie wished that he'd never even taken Cassie to see this fool. Okay. Anybody that ever got anything out of Diddy, I'm sure they had a hell of a price to pay because that's just what Diddy is. He's a parasite. Okay. He feeds off of his victims. Please pay attention.
He forced her to do it. He coerced her into doing it. And I don't feel like that loop has been closed yet. Now, it may be because she's still on the stand and maybe they will close it, but I don't know. You would think that when they go down that line of questioning, they would have closed that loop then, and they didn't. So a lot of this is insinuation and what is in Cassie's head. Now, look, I am not saying that, oh, well, she should have said, I don't want to be urinated on, because most people don't want to be urinated on. And that's pretty obvious. And you take her at her word that she didn't want to, and I get it. To convict him, he has to somehow overtake her free will. Did she express that free will enough for him to have objected either directly or by insinuation? I don't know. This jury may just say, this is on its face disgusting. Nobody wants it. He knew it. He made her do it again. He degraded her. That's enough. Guilty. They may say that. But what if a juror in that deliberation room raises an issue and says, wait a minute, if you look at the jury instruction, it says you got to see force or coercion or duress. Where is the force, coercion, or duress? Then they start getting into, well, Cassie said she didn't like it. And then some other juror says, well, did she say it? And did he say you're doing it anyway?
Harvey is absolutely right. Okay. Harvey is absolutely right. Like I told you, the defense is going to bring all of this up upon cross-examination. Okay, they're going to bring all of this up upon cross-examination. And I can't wait to see how Anna Estavio conducts the cross-exam. Okay, I'm really anxious to hear this. It'll be starting soon, hopefully.
That would be the most direct thing. And so far, not seeing that. Maybe they think because of the power dynamic, it's obvious enough. I'm not advocating one side or another here. I'm just trying to give you, based on a lot of experience I've had in court and covering cases, that this is what juries do. And they could go either way on it. I just thought that this testimony specifically, based on the U.S. attorney coming out in this news conference, really strong, at least made me think, wow, they've got evidence that he forced her, that he said it. And that's what I took away from that news conference with the U.S. attorney. And it's kind of what I got from the indictment. I thought she was going to close that loop, and I didn't hear it. Now, again, that doesn't mean a jury wouldn't convict him, because there are all sorts of reasons that a jury would say, it's obvious. I mean, this is a powerful, powerful guy. She is under his thumb. So they could go that way. I'm just surprised that it didn't go as far as I thought it was going to go. Now, there's another thing, domestic violence. There is a lot of domestic violence in this case. And it is clear that Sean Combs used domestic violence as a tool in his toolbox. That's pretty obvious. And, you know, Cassie testified that there were times when she would have to hide in a hotel room for a week so the bruises on her face would heal. So there is absolutely no doubt. There's no doubt, just based on the Cassie video, that Diddy was brutal. Thing is, the defense is admitting that. They admitted it to the jury in opening statements. And, you know, the thing is that domestic violence is a state crime. And this is not a domestic violence charge.
I mean, yeah, everybody keeps talking about the domestic violence, but they should have charged him with that, but they didn't. Okay, so now, and here's another thing. Somebody was talking about them charging him with arson for blowing up Kid Cudi's car, supposedly. But honey, I'm sorry, isn't that past the statute of limitations? Like, wasn't that like 10 years ago or something? How are they going to charge him with that? Okay, so anyway, here's what they say. Judge instructs attorneys not to engage in witness coaching. Okay, are y'all hearing this? I told y'all that's what they wanted to try, honey, when Douglas Wigner is talking about, can he talk with Cassie when the court goes to break? And the defense was like, he doesn't need to be talking to her when she's about to be cross-examined. Okay, so as the jury is still at lunch, Judge Aaron Subramanian spoke with lawyers in the courtroom. Now, Subramanian said that he won't instruct the witnesses, but told the attorneys for the victim witnesses not to engage in witness coaching or pass on messages from prosecutors to their clients while they're testifying. An attorney for victim witness Mia said he needed to be able to talk to her on breaks during her testimony. We're not going to put words in her mouth, he says, but needs to be able to support her when she wants to talk about what she's experiencing on the stand. No, you don't. No, you don't. Everybody needs to get up there and say what they got to say. We don't have time for all this. It's going to be taken up all day. He goes on to say, candidly, her nerves are through the roof. She would have taken these things to her grave. These are the worst things that ever happened to her. Okay, so don't tell a side story, sir. Okay, get your client up there and let her tell her story. At the end of the day, this sounds like coaching to me. Please sit down somewhere. Now, the defense had asked, because I guarantee you, if it was a person who didn't look like Diddy, and nowhere in hell they'd have these lawyers sitting there trying to coach them. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the defense had asked that the victim witness be instructed not to speak to their attorneys or the prosecutors about their testimony while they're on the stand. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like, no, don't try to get no favorite. Now, here you have another attorney asking to coach his client. Okay, now Douglas Wigner started that crap this morning. Now here you have another attorney for another victim talking about, oh, I need to be able to talk to her about her testimony if she's uncomfortable while she's on the stand. Well, of course, she's going to be uncomfortable, and who wouldn't? Okay, Nina said that's witness tampering. Okay, that's what it would be if Diddy tried to do it. So they need to sit down somewhere at the end of the day. 100 Black Rogue says sexuality is a very lewd spirit. Things that Diddy might not have ever done once he allowed himself to cross the line of mortality based on the money. It was all go time. Oh yeah, you know, all that nefarious things Diddy was doing. Listen, Diddy has a Zuli dancer tattooed on his back. Was conjuring up, allegedly, let me say allegedly, because y'all know the insider told me this, but was conjured up supposedly Zuli Frida. Okay, y'all remember I told y'all doing voodoo and Santeria and all of this. And it's just all a whole lot. And then supposedly conjured up those demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon. Now Diddy's sitting up in court holding a Bible. See, I want y'all to pay attention. See, some of y'all sitting up here and y'all be going, you know, giving the devil his due. Y'all go up here and make these deals with the devil so y'all can have money, fame, and all kind of nefarious things. Then when it all goes south, because it always does. See, whatever the devil gives, he comes to take it right back. and then brings you a whole bunch of grief in the process. Okay, see, look at Diddy, prime example. And then now that's when you want to turn back to God and you want to pick up the Bible and start reading it. Well, Diddy should have read the Bible in the first place and should have made deals with Satan. Okay, because that's what they do in the music industry in Hollywood. Okay, that's exactly what these people do. Nina said, lost soul. Exactly. I have to agree. Then they wonder why they have all these demons that they have attached to them, which is causing them to do all this freaky deaky stuff. You all don't know this is nothing but demonic energy and entities attached to these people engaged in such vile things. Okay, this is not normal sexual behavior. It is not normal to want people to put body excrements and things on you. Reggie said spirit cooking. Okay, exactly. It's all just disgusting. This is all from demons. Okay. When you're sitting up there, you know, using voodoo and Santeria for nefarious purposes and all sorts of things, conjuring up demons and whatnot, okay, doing these rituals dedicated to Bacchus, the Roman god, all right, of wine, liquor, and all kinds of sex partying and all that stuff, this is what you get. Okay, this is what you get. I bet those demons aren't helping him now. And that's why he's sitting there holding that Bible in court. Okay. But Diddy's going to be judged by the court of the Most High. Please pay attention. Now, 2 minutes ago, prosecutor Emily Johnson showed Cassie Ventura an image of Mia that has been admitted into evidence under seal. Ventura said Mia is a longtime friend of hers and worked for Combs. Johnson showed Ventura an image of one of the escorts that they commonly use for freak-offs, which was also admitted under seal. Why is everything under seal today? What's going on here? Ventura said that the still image was taken from a video of a freak-off that was on one of her devices that she turned over to investigators. Johnson showed Ventura an image of herself and a different escort in a freak-off. This image was also taken from a video on one of her devices. Okay, it's under seal because this came from the videos that they have under seal. Because remember, these freak-off tapes that they're about to show in court, only the jury, the defense, the judge, and the prosecution are supposed to see these. They're not going to let the regular citizens or the media see it. Okay, I just wish they just need to let it out there and let everybody see it. That's all I'm saying. Reggie says Satan owned the Bible backwards and forwards. Exactly. Okay, 100 Black Ryok. Thank you for your donation to the channel, beloved, and your insight to the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. This is all a hot mess. Okay, but let's listen to what Harvey, let me let him finish up, and then I'm going to go back to Lauren.
That he faces. You know, this involves sex workers and interstate commerce and all of that. So, you know, his position is, look, this was mutual domestic violence. And, you know, he will point to what he says were abuses by Cassie. Again, I don't know that airplane flies, because when you look at his size versus hers, you know, I don't know that's going to work. But, you know, they brought up that they want to introduce into evidence evidence of a bar fight Cassie was in where she wanted to kill somebody when she was high on drugs. So they're going to try to bring that in to show this kind of mutual domestic violence.
See, I told you all that yesterday. Didn't I tell you guys that they said Cassie got into a bar fight and tried to kill somebody? Honey, all that's coming out today. Okay, that's all coming out today. Honey, this is all so crazy. Reggie said, when you said Cassie was fighting for her life at a freak off, I almost lost it in the freeway. Reggie, you are so nefarious. Let me finish this video.
Again, I don't know if that's going to work, but ultimately, this is not a domestic violence case, and I think that's one of the things. Now, I want to raise one other point, and then I'll stop, I promise. The other point I want to raise is the freak-off videos. A prosecution said they want to admit it into evidence, at least one of them. And the defense started objecting, saying they didn't want the media to see it. They haven't done that yet. And it's unclear whether the judge will clear the courtroom, whether the judge will let the jury see it. away from the media, whether they sit there with, some kind of a screen where the people in the courtroom can't see it other than the jurors. I don't know whether they do that or not. I don't know what the freak off video shows. Does it show Combs in any way coercing or forcing her? It's going to be really relevant. The thing that I thought about was that Cassie is coming to court very, very pregnant. And that is hard for the jury to reconcile with these, stories about freak offs with Cassie involved and all. If they, and that's the image of Cassie they see. If they see that video, I'm just thinking, as a prosecutor, what do you do? Because now all of a sudden the jury says, oh yeah, that was her back in the day, when she was involved in this. And she is a very different person from we see now. Do you want to create that dichotomy? In a way, in a weird way, that might be a risk for the prosecution. But bottom line, I think with the threat to release the videos, at least there, the prosecution won, but they didn't win as big as I thought they would. Okay, we're doing this in real time. So right after I finished talking about what you just saw, this happened in court, which ended the day, and it's relevant. They brought up the famous 2016 Intercontinental Hotel, where Diddy viciously beat Cassie. Here's what the prosecutor said. Did you ever leave a freak off before it was over? Cassie, yes, at the Century City Intercontinental. I finally had a premiere coming up and I didn't want to mess it up, but Sean hit me. Prosecutor, at what point did Sean hit you? Cassie, between sessions. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Prosecutor, what happened next? Cassie, I got to the elevator. Next thing I knew, I was thrown to the ground. This is the video that we've all now seen. Prosecutor, who threw you down? Cassie, Sean, he grabbed me by my neck and hoodie. Prosecutor, let me show you the video. And they played the video. So what is interesting and confusing about this is she says he hit me between sessions. It sounds like she's saying that there was a session in the hotel room and then maybe another session where she wanted to leave to go to this premiere because she says he hit me in between sessions. I don't think that the hallway was in between sessions. I think, at least I thought, it was over by then. But she's suggesting, and I think they're going to tie this up tomorrow, that maybe there were two sessions inside the room. Bottom line is, if Diddy did hit her because she wanted to leave, that closes the loop. So if that's the case, and again, the court broke for the day right after this. But if that's the case, that he hit her because she wanted to leave, closes the loop. And that is a huge win for prosecutors.
What if, when uncertainty is high, heck, when chaos is high, it's actually the best time to
Hold on for a minute, beloveds. I'm going back to the Breakfast Club video so we can hear the rest of what Lauren has to say. She's going to start off talking about Halle Bailey. Her and her boyfriend are having some kind of drama or whatever, but then she gets into Cassie and Diddy's trial.
Filed and was actually granted a restraining order against Diddy G, who is her child's father. She alleges that he has been physically, verbally, and emotionally and financially abusive. So for a background really quickly, they were together for it was like 2 years. They began dating in 2022. They broke up back in October. And she said the reason why they broke up was his temper. She alleges that he had a really bad temper and he couldn't control it. She filed these documents Tuesday in LA, and she says that things begin to get physical. She alleges things got physical with him in January. So she said that's when the breakup happened. She says that one time DDG came over to pick up their son Halo. She tried to start a conversation with him about child visitation schedule, because in the document she's saying that she's been trying to get a set schedule. They both are entertainers. They're both busy, but he wants to allegedly pop up, demand Halo whenever it's convenient for him. And sometimes it doesn't work for her, and then it creates issues. So she said that they were having a conversation about the schedule, and then things kind of went left. She said that as this conversation was happening, she was assisting in buckling Halo into his car seat. And then that's when she claims that DDG grew agitated and repeatedly said, "Get out of my car, B word." She says that she then, got up. She began to get upset because the baby started to cry, and she got nervous about DDG leaving with him because the baby was in such an aggravated state. She didn't want him to leave with the baby. And then that's when they started wrestling, allegedly. And she says that during the wrestling, she alleges DDG pulled her hair, slammed her face on the steering wheel, and chipped her tooth. Now, here's a photo of the chipped tooth that we have here. And she also says that she was in pain, she was crying, and although although they stopped fighting, she was still worried about Halo. So she remained in the car for the ride over to DDG's house. But when she got there, she revealed to his family right away what had happened. And once they told her that they would take care of the baby, she left. She said she was hysterical. She had bruises all over her body and on her arms. Specifically on her arms were the ones that she took pictures of, and she included in the filing where she requested this restraining order, which she was then granted. And she also
which she wasn't granted.
She was granted.
Okay.
So she included the photos of her arm, the photos of her chipped tooth. And she just talks about some of the things that she's been dealing with. She says that, he'll allege things that like she's not letting him see the kid, but then she added text messages in where she was talking to his mom and she was trying to figure out how he could see the baby before they went away on the trip. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a conversation around if she was dating Brent Faiyaz or not, because people thought they were alleging that she was away on this trip with Brent Faiyaz with baby Halo.
Never heard that in my life.
That was a thing. It was a thing online. And she says that because of that, DDG began to text her like articles and she actually has screenshots of text messages allegedly from DDG in this doc. Basically, he's like, yo, this is foul. Hey, cause you got Halo. Watch when I go on a trip, I'm gonna do my big one when I go on a trip. And she saying to him, like, you're not tired of like harassing me, like leave me alone.
They weren't together.
They weren't together at this point. So she included all of this into the doc. She filed a police report. From there, the judge said, okay, I'm going to give you a restraining order. So
what is financial abuse?
Financial abuse can be like where he's refusing to pay for something, refusing to share in something, things of that nature.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is where they are now. DDG was just up here though. Remember he talked about where he stood with Halle. Let's take a listen.
At one point you said that you actually would get back with Halle. At one point you said that. Do you still feel that way?
I don't know where the world might take me.
Yeah.
But right now I'm single, super single.
I saw you say that on one of your live streams you were trying to get to a point of peace with her as far as co-parenting.
Yeah, we cool.
Yeah.
Figuring it out.
How do you get to a point of peace if you're constantly doing that? Like constantly putting your life and your information, even about your relationship with her on that?
I mean, this is the most consistent I've been just because I'm single. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in a relationship, you gotta sacrifice time. Like, no matter how much you do this or how much understanding your girl might have, it's always gonna be some type of like, all right, when we gonna watch a movie, nigga? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's with any girl. But the reason I've been so consistent and like streaming for such long hours is because I have a lot of time to myself, which is, that's a positive for me.
Do you put that in your music? Because I also saw you saying that you wish you could spend more time with your son.
Yeah.
So do you is that therapeutic to put it in your music, or do you even put it in your music?
About spending time with my son?
All of this stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible. I know that was hard for Halle to do because, DDG is a god on the internet, and those screamers, those chat folks are going to harass the hell out of her.
It's already started. And
I'm sure.
And she's mentioned that in her docs too, that she gets harassed anytime his fans get in a frenzy.
Yeah.
But it's already started. People are basically like saying that she's just doing this just to be doing it. Like she's always messing with him. He was actually live on stream when he found out he was live on stream with Aiden Ross. And Aiden Ross kind of gave the insinuation that this is all for, her just like stirring up the pot. Let's take a listen to Aiden.
Why are they saying GGTMZ? right, looking at her story now. Don't even.
That can't even be real. But that can't even be real.
But,
that's the thing.
But don't even. But you remember we talked about last night? All that. Let me say something. It's not.
No, I'm saying, but I don't know where that even came from.
Yo, stop these fake allegations. This is a father. This is a real person. It's a good human being.
But I don't.
But hey, bro, we on stream, bro.
Come on, like I gotta be.
Just don't do it, bro. Come here. That. That's my real friend. We're not gonna do no false in the stream.
Yeah, so that was Aiden Ross. But she was granted a domestic violence restraining order, and according to the restraining order, DDG has to stay 100 yards away, and the judge gave her permission to take nearly the 18-month-old son Halo to Italy, where she'll be filming a movie for 2 months coming up.
And Hallie got a lot of receipts, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I told you. She got text messages in this doc that she filed. She has photos. A judge is not going to grant a restraining order just off of like oh my God, I think this is happening to me. You have to show what you're talking about, at least enough for a judge to say, okay, I want to keep you safe until we figure out, you know what I mean? Like, or I don't want anything to happen. So let's separate y'all two, keep y'all away from each other, and let's look more into this. Let's investigate, figure out what's going on.
And she did what you should do in that situation, right? She went to the police.
Yeah.
Like she went to the courts. She was granted a restraining order. And I'm sure there's more to come in regards to the law. And that's what I'm saying. You can play on the internet in the court of public opinion, but in the real world, the court of law is what matters.
Now, I wanted you all to hear that because y'all hear this happening to Halle Bailey. At the end of the day, she did the right thing, like Charlamagne said, okay? She went to the police and got a restraining order, and she's like done with him. That's what you do when you have somebody who wants to act crazy and play games, okay? Put the police on them at the end of the day. Period.
Yeah, well, speaking of court, real quick, I did want to talk about yesterday, Cassie in court running us through that.
Back to Diddy.
Yeah, back to Diddy. Running us through the video of her being dragged in that hotel room back in 2016. So people have been trying to figure out kind of like what the narrative is. Was she trying to get away from a freak off, or was this two people so jealous, so upset? Cassie says that was her trying to leave a freak off 100%. She says that she had shot Diddy a text message, which they brought up in court. In that text, she's texting him and saying, I want to FO so bad. That's how they talked about freak offs. The text is to Pop Up. She calls him Pop Up because she alleges that he wanted her to call him what she used to call her grandfather.
I was about to say, Pop Up is for granddad.
Yes, I used to call my Pop Up. My grandfather Pop Up. Now
well, that's when you know the girl way too young for you. Yeah, it's one thing when the girl say daddy.
Yeah,
Pop Up.
She said on the stand too. She was like, "Yeah, weird. I know, but whatever." But anyway, so there's text between Baby Girl and Pop Up, her and Puff, and she's talking about.
Oh, come on, man.
It's BBG. He called her Baby Girl. He called her CC, Cassie Combs. Those were the nicknames that he had.
Think about the contrast: Granddaddy and Baby Girl.
BBG and Pop Up.
It's Pop Up.
Pop, but come on, y'all. Come on, guys. Come on, man.
Well, but that's crazy.
Yeah, well, so in the text messages, she's saying that she wants to freak off, and people, and I think the prosecutors brought this up early because they want to get ahead of it, because she's saying she's initiating it, right? But she's also alleging at the same time she was trying to get away from it and couldn't. So she said that the reason why she shot this text and the reason why they were even in that hotel in LA the day that she got dragged back in 2016 was because she had this major movie premiere coming up on Monday. That video that we saw, she alleges happened over the weekend. She believes it was Friday.
Listen, I need to know what you all are thinking about this, because I find it interesting that every time there is any proof that Cassie, in fact, initiated freak-offs, they come up with some excuse. Oh, I just did it because this, that, and the third. How do we know she's telling the truth? To me, this speaks to the fact that she wanted to have those freak-offs at some points, okay? Please pay attention. Now, she texted him talking about, I want to have a freak-off so bad. Does that sound like somebody that's being constantly forced to engage in this behavior? I'm sorry, I'm not buying this. And then they keep coming up with these excuses for why she did it. And yeah, this don't look good or sound good as far as I'm concerned.
Friday, she said she initiated that freak off because she wanted to make him happy. When he was pleased, when his moods were great, she would be okay. She didn't want anything to ruin the premiere. She didn't want to be told that she couldn't go or that, to have bruises or anything allegedly. So she said she did the freak off. They got there, they were drinking, they were partying with one of the escorts, a male escort, and somehow she ends up getting hit in her face by him. He allegedly punches her in her face. She's bruised in the face now. And she said at that point, she's like, I got to get out of here because if it gets worse, she's thinking about the premiere and she's scared. So we see her in the video trying to get away. And that's when she says that, she alleges he dragged her back into the room, took herself back into the room. But she was trying to explain why she was even there in the first place. And again, just, quickly put in context to that video, she said this is her trying to get away, can't get away, but doing this because if it makes him happy, she can be in some bit of peace.
What was the reaction in the courtroom when all this was happening? Even the semen on the nipples, like what?
Okay, here's the thing that I have to say about this. You all excuse me, I'm eating my seaweed chips. But here's the thing. So she says that she wanted to do the freak off so he wouldn't get upset, he'd be happy, and he'd let her go to the premiere, right? But if he didn't ask her for a freak off, why would you volunteer for a freak off? Why would you text this man to do something that you claim you hate to do? Okay? Like, that's not making any sense to me. I could see if he asked her to do one and she said, okay, well, I just did it because I wanted to go to the premiere. I don't want any trouble. But he didn't ask her. She asked him. So that's just not making any sense to me, okay? They're just making excuses, or she's making excuses. I'm sorry. I'm not buying all of this.
What was the reaction with Puff, the family, even Cassie's husband who was there? Like,
I think so. I was sitting behind Cassie's brother and Cassie's husband. Her brother was a bit uneasy when they were playing the video. They didn't really react too much to the whole semen on nipple and a lot of stuff with the men. And I don't know if it's because everybody knows that we're all watching them. Neither did Puff's family. But there was one point where they talked about all the drugs that they would be on during these freak offs, because she said she wouldn't remember a lot of them because of them. And they asked her, well, how were you reading up on drugs? How did you know who to call? And she said it was because of Diddy. And then they asked her, well, whose drug contact was it? Like, whose drug dealer was it? And she said she alleges it was Puff's. And I watched him, and Puff was looking at her. He was like, he made this face like, come on, man. And I was like, oh, wow. And that was the first time that I saw him visibly, like, because other than that, it was blank stare at her the whole time.
Didn't they arrest one of Diddy's drug mules? Remember that little
They
white
did.
dude?
Mhm.
He's not on trial?
I don't know if he's going to be included in the trial or not. So far, the witness list, all we've heard from was one male escort, Cassie.
Now, did you all peep what Lauren said? She said that when she said it was Puff's rug dealer, that he looked at her funny, or he had a funny look on his face. She could have been lying, because at the end of the day, she was likely getting her stuff from Diddy. And then when her and Diddy are on the outs, she may have had to get it from somewhere else and doesn't want to admit where it came from. Okay? Because knowing as crazy as Diddy is and as angry and jealous and possessive as he allegedly is, I don't know that he would even want a rug dealer meeting with Cassie to give her the substances behind without him there. I just don't think he would be that trusting.
The LAPD security guy that was like security at the
How was she
hotel.
doing it? Because she's pregnant. So how was she doing? Does she need multiple breaks? Is she in
took
pain,
two.
or
Yes, she
like,
took
does she
two
look fine
breaks.
mentally?
She took 2 breaks. She asked for one of the breaks. While she's on the stand, she's doing a lot of like this, like
Touching her
holding
stomach
herself,
and
and
yeah,
she cried a little bit.
Contracting.
Yeah,
That would be
Like
crazy.
8 months. Yeah.
She cried a little bit in the beginning, like the opening of her testimony, but she held it together very, very well.
Listen, I told y'all yesterday that video is going to be the most damning piece of evidence in this case, because it's almost impossible to see that video and give Diddy the benefit of the doubt for anything. And I know folks, say, oh, he's not on trial for domestic violence, but the beating part is part of the coercion and manipulation that defines trafficking in a court of law. When you get people to engage in sexual acts through violence or drugs or emotional manipulation, that all constitutes trafficking in a court of law. I guarantee you what you're going to see over the next few days is them defining what sexual trafficking is. They're going to be talking about the Mann Act. They're going to be talking about the coercion and the manipulation, the combo of drugs and violence and the emotional manipulation that he allegedly used to get people to do sexual things. I guarantee they're going to start talking about the transportation of prostitutes. That's all of that goes into sexual trafficking.
I agree with what you're saying, because they set it up real good just to bring that landing in.
What's the difference between a prostitute and an escort?
So the way that they were having a conversation yesterday was like, escorts are people that, like, not even an escort, but they were calling them escorts, but a lot of the men that they were enlisting from like Backpage, Craigslist, and these like male escort services. Backpage is old, right? Where people that were supposed to be there, they come and you like enjoy their time. So like y'all
buying
going
cock off Craigslist,
bro.
Shut up,
And
man.
she was having to use her real phone number to respond to the ads.
There was booty on
She didn't
Backpages?
have to post. She didn't have to post them, but she had to use her real phone number to respond to the ads. She said. But to answer your question, they're still really defining it. But from what I'm getting from it, it seems like an escort isn't supposed to be having sex with you.
Oh,
They're supposed to just be there and like you enjoy their time. You might date with them. They might come and do like bring a stripper.
They might come and then you take that cum and rub it on your nipples.
Don't get me to line.
This is why
because I'm
was
getting
mad right now.
What?
You got all these semen jokes.
And when they do these, nobody laughs in the courtroom, right? Nobody laughs in the courtroom when they say like you put the semen on the nipples. Like there's no outbursts or anything like that. And the only reason I'm asking because if you don't know, Lauren is at the court every day.
Yeah, she's at the court.
The reason why I think yesterday people didn't catch a lot of stuff is because people were bored. It took the prosecution a long time to get to a lot of this stuff.
To this?
That's what
I
I said.
wasn't. I was duly intrigued, and my notes were noting.
This is years and years of comedy material.
Yeah, well,
I want a stiff nipple with a cum topper. You ever been on the
That's why people can't take it serious.
Not on the nipple.
I could never take y'all to court. Y'all would embarrass me.
We get kicked out.
It's pews in the court. I have to sit y'all in the back, like back in church.
That should be a drink. That should be a drink at a bar, not on the nipple.
What?
Wow. Watch your will start.
And
They already got a slippery nipple. The slippery nipple is
what I'm
already
saying?
a drink.
And this is a slippery nipple. When you take that semen and rub it on the nipple, it becomes slippery.
And they gonna start glazing the rim.
Imagine all of it, and the kids got to be in there watching it. The girls didn't leave yesterday either.
Oh, during the nipple?
They didn't leave during anything. They stayed during the whole testimony.
Oh, their daughters.
Yeah, and it was Diddy was straight face at Cassie. During the video, I do feel like Alex Fine, he had a couple stares for Puff.
This is why we need the Boondocks. This is why you need the Chappelle Show. Okay. This is great material, guys.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Well, I'll be back with more updates because today Cassie's going back on the stand, and then she's going to get cross-examined at some point. I think we got about like 2 more days with her on the stand. So
Well, head your ass to court and good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you later on today. Yeah, once Lauren goes to court, we don't see Lauren again until 7 p.m.
Because they take my phones.
I know.
I be feeling like I be coming out like, woo, fresh out, first day out. Like it'd be tough.
All right. The mix is up next. Lauren, thank you for the latest. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
He says texting me. That's what it was.
Wake that ass up.
Okay, so very interesting. Very interesting. I'm just waiting for the cross-examination. That's what I'm waiting for. Okay, so let me check for more updates, beloveds. These updates are not coming in as quickly today as they were yesterday. What is going on? What is going on, honey? Let me see what I can dig up. Okay, so let's go through another update. Okay, so Cassie Ventura testified that early on in their relationship, Sean Diddy Combs, his security personnel and driver, saw him physically abuse her. In later years, assistants, including one named Mia, witnessed the abuse. Now, Mia is a pseudonym. That's not the person's real name. Okay, some assistants told her they quit after witnessing the abuse, she says. So the jury is now seeing sexually explicit images taken from some of the freak-off videos. One female juror let out a deep breath and rested her hand on her chest as an image was placed on the monitor before her. A male juror looked at the screen at one of the images and his eyes appeared to move away quickly. A male juror wrote on a notepad. Honey, this must be ghastly if these people are having these sort of reactions. Now, Cassie Ventura testified that there were times when she initiated physical fights with Sean Diddy Combs, but she never saw any injuries on him afterwards. She said after he abused her, she would have to recover for days, usually by hiding out in a hotel room. At any time that he was physical, there would be at least some trace of a bruise or something, she says. So Cassandra Ventura is now testifying about the first instance of violence with Sean Diddy Combs, which she said happened in the first few years of their relationship. Ventura said that she was at dinner when she saw Combs flirting with somebody else. Another person saw that Ventura had noticed, and she just shrugged her shoulders. Now, when they got into the car after dinner, he hit me in the side of my head, and I fell to the floor of the car. His security and driver were also present in the car, she says. I was just shocked, and I didn't necessarily understand what happened and why he was so angry, except for the little bit that he said as he was hitting me in the car. And I just went home and kind of hid out after that. Honey, I would have hid out for good. He would have never seen me again. This is all crazy. How are you going to get mad because you're flirting with somebody and now she's upset, and then she gets hit upside the head? Now, Cassie Ventura is describing another time that Sean Diddy Combs was violent with her. She said that after a party at Los Angeles, at a Los Angeles club, she says Diddy called her names. Ventura said that she drunkenly punched him in the face in response, which prompted Combs to beat her, stomping on her face as she lied on the floor of the Escalade. Now, I want you all to pay attention because what's going on here is the prosecution or Cassie's attorney has clearly told her to admit that she was putting hands on him. Because if you notice, now she's talking about hitting him in the face. She's talking about fighting back and all that stuff because she knows that the defense is going to come for her and act as though she was so violent. But nobody's more violent than Diddy. Okay. So when they got to the house, she said that she jumped out of the car and tried to run down the street. But Combs and security eventually caught up with her and brought her into the house. Ventura said she finally looked at her face once she was at Combs' house and she didn't recognize herself. Honey, that would have been it right there. I'm sorry. Okay, it's a no for me. Just knots and bleeding, swollen everything. I looked horrible. Oh, this is all so awful, honey. Okay, so hold tight for more updates, beloveds. Okay, so this is just a couple of updates from Inner City Press. Ventura says this was before FaceTime was very popular, so I could hide myself. She asked if it was me. Okay, so obviously the prosecution is showing her some pictures. AUSA says, what did you say? Ventura says, no, I did not want my mother to know. Hold on, I'm sorry. No, the prosecutor isn't showing her something. This is what Cassie is saying. Okay, she says this was before FaceTime was very popular, so I could hide myself. She asked if it was me. Okay, so she's talking about her mom, I guess. So AUSA said, what did you say? Ventura said, no, I did not want my mother to know something of that magnitude and be in danger. So then AUSA says, when you went to a party with your girlfriends, what happened? Ventura said, I saw executives from BET. Then I heard that Sean was there. AUSA says, what did you do? She says, I left. I ran out as fast as I could. AUSA says, why? She said, I thought he was angry. Honey, imagine going somewhere trying to have a good time, but only you hear the Diddy's there and you got to run and leave. Terry said Diddy needs his arse beat in prison. He definitely needs a beating. Okay, CB says, girl, I would have gotten a frying pan, broom, garage can, okay, a garbage can, okay, or after that airs. Let me tell you something. Diddy is a bully. That's what he is. He's a bully. He tries to bully everybody. When he knows it's somebody he can't bully, then he goes and gets his bodyguards, his goons. Okay? This is all so crazy, honey. At the end of the day, it's really sad. It is really sad. I just hope that the prosecution lays out their case. Come on, prosecution. Get y'all stuff together today. Okay? Don't come here with the BS. All right? I'm waiting to see what victim number 4 is going to say, but specifically, I'm waiting to see what they have. Reggie said a hot pot of grits. I know that's right. Honey, he would have got that and then some. I'm waiting to see how they're going to approach this cross-exam. That's what I'm waiting on. Let me see if there's any more updates. Diddy is something else. I wonder what's the look on his face as he's sitting there taking it all in and hearing all these things being said about him and knowing that everybody's finding out how he really gets down. Okay, so Cassandra Ventura said the fight in the Escalade happened in front of an assistant and a security driver by the name of Roger Bonds. She said the aggression didn't end until she arrived at Sean Combs' residence, at which point she ran out of the car. Bonds caught her and brought her into the home, she testified. Inside, Ventura saw her face. I didn't look like myself at all, just knots and bleeding, swollen everything. Okay, she recalled that she was vomiting when Combs appeared, and his demeanor transformed again, saying the person he switched over to during the car ride was now gone. That's his demons, okay? He has multiple demons, I'm pretty sure. She said Combs was freaking out over her injuries, as if he didn't cause them, okay? She said he told her to sneak out of the house with security and go hide out in a hotel. She checked into a room that night. Honey, I would have gone straight to the police. See, here's the thing. I would have gone straight to the police department, okay? I would have gone straight to the police department, especially your face is being to the point that you don't even recognize yourself. Forget hiding out at a damn hotel. Okay, he'd have thought I was going to a hotel, or I'd have gone to the hotel and called the police. All right, honey, Diddy would have been locked up a long time ago. I mean, he literally stomped. She said she tried to cover her face as he stomped on it. She recounted once initiating a physical fight with Combs as they rode in the Cadillac. Now, I want you to pay attention because Cassie is telling that she initiated this fight. I'm telling you, she's trying to cover her tracks because this is what Roger Bond said. Remember the video, the incident I told you about when Cassie was supposedly in the back seat of the car and Diddy was in front and she reached around and hit him or something? Okay, I think Roger Bonds told that story, or was it Chopper from Making the Band? One of them said it. But anyway, so she's telling this story. She's doing exactly, I told you all the other day, she's doing exactly what the guy did, Papa Duck, on 8 Mile, or what Eminem did when he was going to battle him. He said everything about himself, so the guy didn't have anything left to come at him with. Okay, because Cassie Ventura recounted once initiating a physical fight with Sean Combs as they rode in a Cadillac Escalade in Los Angeles. She said she punched him in the face hard as she could, after which his whole demeanor changed. I bet it did, honey. He probably like, what? Okay, his eyes went black and he began to attack her. She took shelter under the back seat of the Escalade and she tried to cover her face as he stomped it. Ooh, honey. Okay, Gwendolyn said it was Chopper. Was that who it was? Thank you. Star witness Cassandra Ventura returned to the stand on Wednesday in the federal criminal case of Sean Diddy Combs. He faces 15 years to life if convicted. Prosecutors allege that Combs used Ruggs with a D, violence, and his power in the industry, where he ran Bad Boy Records and was synonymous with the A-list party scene. And he used all of this to sexually abuse Ventura and others. He has pleaded not guilty. Okay, so see what else I can find. AUSA says, did he come to the hotel where you were staying? Ventura says, yes, he beat me up and called me names. My face was all bruised. AUSA says, this photo, who is it? Ventura says, Scott Muscudi, known as Kid Cudi. We dated in 2011. AUSA says, did Sean find out? She says, yes, in my phone. Then Ventura says, Sean went through my phone during a freak out. He found an email. AUSA said, about what? Ventura said, taking my toiletry bag to Scott's the next day, Sean put a wine opener in his hand and threatened me. I called Scott on a burner phone. AUSA says, where did you go? So do y'all hear this? He took a wine opener in his hand and threatened her. You know where he got that idea from? I'm pretty sure that's what Kim Porter used when she fought him that time. Okay, and she nicked his artery and he had to get stitches and all of that, remember, on his left arm, if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to pick up a corkscrew. Aqua Girl Rising says sometimes you have to have a Tina moment. Speaking of, notice how nobody called Miss Tina Turner stupid. Right. But you know, back then when Tina Turner was young, honey, that was more commonplace back then. Men beat their women's behinds because a lot of men felt like they had the right to do so, and that was just not something that was really frowned upon then like it is now. Shoshana said they know who to mess with. I'd probably be serving time with such foolishness, shaking my head. Okay, me too, honey. Honey, I'd have been beat Diddy to a pulp, honey, and done time with a smile. Please pay attention. Okay, Aqua Girl Rising said Kim sliced him with that bottle opener. Yeah, she did. With a corkscrew, she sure did. He knew she wasn't having any of it. Okay, so here's the legal analysis. Okay, Cassandra Ventura's flawless testimony may have the defense adjusting their strategy. Well, they definitely already have said that. Okay, so Cassie Ventura did not hold back on the details of what she endured during her years-long relationship with Sean Diddy Combs while on the stand. Okay, CNN legal analyst, trial attorney, and podcast host Mercedes Colwin told this information to CNN, saying as a result, the defense may now have to adjust their cross-examination strategy following what Colwin described as Ventura's flawless and meticulous testimony after she has spent over 8 hours testifying as the prosecution's star witness in Combs' trafficking trial, saying the core evidence of this case is that Cassie Ventura was under the control and coercion and threats of violence by Mr. Combs. That's the key, Colwin says. She is the cornerstone of this prosecution. Colwin added that the defense has to really think to themselves, are we really going to attack her on whether or not she consented to all these freak-offs, when now she is today describing the physical toll that it took that took place as a result? She pointed to Ventura's testimony about the time it took for her to recover from the sexual encounters, the physical symptoms that she endured, and how unemotional she was at times while delivering parts of her testimony. The defense has said the defense has to say to themselves, she comes across as very secure as a witness. Okay, this is a very confident young woman. Okay, Cassie Ventura testified about what happened after she said Sean Diddy Combs beat her following a party at the Los Angeles club. Ventura said that Combs told her she needed to sneak out of the house and go to the security to stay at a hotel. She testified that she snuck into the hotel, covered up, and because no one could see me like that, she said. Ventura said she wanted to stay at Combs' house instead of going to the hotel. Why would you want to stay with him after he just beat the crap out of you? I don't get it, honey. I do not get it at all. Honey, I would have gone straight to the hotel and called the police. That's what I would have said, done. D. Hood Rilla says, yes, Cassie was guilty, but feds gave her immunity. Absolutely. I absolutely believe that. Definitely. Thank you, beloved. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. Okay, so she says, I couldn't let anyone see me like that. Now, Ventura said she wanted to go stay at Combs' house instead of going to the hotel. but said Combs wouldn't allow her to. She said Combs told his staff and or she told Combs and his staff that she wanted to leave the hotel where she had been staying for about a week. But Ventura also said that she didn't feel like she could leave and she didn't think it was safe for her to do so. She said, I didn't have the resources. I needed to get out and move, to get out and not have anybody stop me. I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, and the threats that he made prior to that. Ventura said that her mother read a description of the incident online that didn't include her name and reached out to her to see if it was about her. I didn't tell my mom the truth because I was ashamed, but I also felt like at that point I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't want to put my mother in danger of knowing anything of that magnitude. Okay, so again, some of this will be repetitive because I'm going to different sources to get this information. Okay.
Outside Manhattan criminal court where we are about to go in for day 3 of the criminal trial against Sean Combs. Yesterday we heard emotional testimony from Cassie Ventura, who said that she was physically and psychologically abused by Mr. Combs. Her testimony yesterday was compelling and it was emotional and it was hard to watch at times. She spoke in a hushed but a confident tone. Today, we're going to be hearing more testimony from Cassie. I expect her to be on the stand for at least the bulk of the day, and then she'll be cross-examined by Mr. Combs' attorneys. We are outside Manhattan criminal court where we are about to
East Meets West says, what parent is going to see or know their child is going through these things and not move hell and high water to get her out? Diddy did wrong, but too many are complicit. I agree. And you know what that reminds me of, beloved? It reminds me of in the movie about Tina Turner and Ike Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It? Remember how Tina Turner's mother, she was trying to go stay with her mother because she was sick of Ike and she was trying to leave him and take the kids. And when she got to the bus station, Ike was there waiting on her, okay, to pick her up because her mother sold her out. And then she found out that Ike had bought her mother a house behind her back. So to just keep her loyal to him. This is what some parents do. Some people don't care about anything but money. Okay, I'm sure Diddy was probably paying Cassie's mother's bills too. Okay, because why would you let your daughter stay in that situation, like you said, if you knew what was going on? Okay, this is all just so egregious, end of the day. Hold for the next updates, beloveds.
Once again, Cassie Ventura walked straight into that courtroom. She never once glanced at Sean Combs or her family. Her husband, Alex Fine, he is here in the courtroom. And yes, during what was yet another very uncomfortable moment during this trial was when we heard the names Ash, Islander, Skylar, Vin, and Brian. Those are some of the 13 escorts who Ventura says she and Combs hired for the so-called freak-offs. Ventura told jurors it was her job to hire the escorts, who she said has sex with herself and Combs in Los Angeles, Vegas, New York, Miami, and as far away as Ibiza. She says the one thing she tried to avoid while interacting with the escorts was kissing them because she felt it was, quote, too intimate. It made her squeamish. Today, we also saw more video from the hallway of the hotel in LA in 2016. She said she did not fight back, but because she had learned doing so in the past escalated the fight. It made it worse for herself. This time, though, when she said sometimes when she did fight back, she said Combs was surprised, adding he was shocked and he would get angry and frustrated. At one point in that video, we see Ventura in a hoodie with her arm up and out as Combs walked towards her. Ventura remembers Combs saying she couldn't leave. She says this was in the middle of a freak-off, that a male escort was in their hotel room. During this exchange, Ventura says Combs hit her in the face. Jurors were shown a picture of the 38-year-old with a fat lip and sunglasses she said she was wearing because she was hiding a black eye. Ventura left the hotel, and what followed was a string of frantic text messages from Combs to Ventura. At one point, she replied, quote, "You are sick to think it is okay to do what you've done. Please stay away from me." To which Combs wrote, "If you don't pick up, you'll never hear my voice again." As far as the freak-offs, Ventura says Combs texted her saying, quote, "You know we have to have a proper FO without no K." That says she meant having a freak-off without the drug ketamine. Ventura today this morning on the stand said that after those so-called freak-offs that her and Combs would get IV fluids, massages, food, and often take more drugs.
A complete and utter shame.
Cassandra Ventura, the singer known as Cassie, the key witness for the prosecution at Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial. On the witness stand on Tuesday, she gave her version of events of that now infamous videotape security footage of Combs beating her at a hotel in Los Angeles in 2016. Cassie telling jurors that she was involved in one of the freak-offs, the highly orchestrated sexual encounters that Combs had over the years. She was at the hotel with him. She wanted to leave the freak-off early because Combs had hit her and given her a black eye. She said she had a movie premiere scheduled for later, and she didn't want to mess that up. So she thought safest approach would be to leave the hotel and go home. Cassie said she grabbed her belongings, walked down the hall to the elevator, and as we see in that footage, Combs in a white bath towel walks down the hall after her, hits her, knocks her to the ground, kicks her, and then attempts to drag her back to the room. Cassie on the witness stand saying that the next thing I knew as she was bending down to put on her shoes was that I was thrown to the ground. She sighed heavily as a prosecutor walked her through the video, shown now for a fifth time to the jury on just the second day of testimony in this case. Cassie testifying all day on Tuesday, will be back on the stand on Wednesday. And the key moment right as testimony wrapped up on Tuesday was her narration, her version of events of this video. She said she stayed on the floor as Combs grabbed her belongings and moved to take them back to the room. She said she felt safest on the floor. She didn't want him to do any more damage to her. When asked by a prosecutor how many other times Combs had knocked her to the ground like that, Cassie replied, "Too many to count. I don't know." Combs has pleaded not guilty. His lawyers say, if anything, the video and the testimony about violence points to domestic violence, not racketeering and sex trafficking, the charges in this case. Combs' lawyers contend that prosecutors have overcharged and that he should be found not guilty of these crimes. They'll have a chance to question Cassie once prosecutors are done with their questioning, part of a trial known as direct testimony. Cassie is one of at least two women expected to testify about their experiences at freak-offs with Combs. In all, prosecutors allege that he violated many women, naming at least 4 in their court charges. The trial resumes on Wednesday. Cassie back on the stand for more testimony.
And songwriter Mogul accuses him of coercing women into abusive sex parties and becoming violent if they refused. Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller is live in New York with the latest. Alex, you've been inside the courtroom. A lot of this testimony difficult to listen to. What can you tell us about what's going on right now?
Well, look, this morning we have learned more about the cycle of control, of violence, of these freak-offs that Cassie and Sean Combs endured over the course of nearly 11 years of their relationship. She's on the stand this morning in a gray turtleneck dress. He's wearing a cream-colored sweater with gray pants and a white collared shirt under, similar to what we've seen him in the last couple of days. Some of his sons are there in the courtroom today, along with his mother. His daughters, notably, not there today. They have been in the courtroom the last 2 days, though. So let's talk about really the main focus this morning, as we've learned a lot more from Cassie's perspective about what happened from that time period when that now notorious hotel room or hotel lobby video was taken in 2016. We learned that that day she decided not to fight back. She says she was worried about more violence if she did so. She ended up leaving the hotel, though she initially had said that she tried, and Combs told her she was not going to leave him there. After she left, she says he texted her incessantly. Jurors were able to see those text messages on their screen. Clearly, Combs was concerned about that video getting out, the story getting out. He said, "I've got 6 kids. Please call me over and over again." She finally told him that she spoke with security. He told her that the police had arrived at the hotel, but we know from the testimony yesterday that the security guard said that police were never called. Cassie said she also didn't believe that security was called either. She ended up going to her friend's apartment where her friend called the police, but when they came to that apartment, Cassie did not tell them who hit her. She said she just simply was not ready to disclose that information. She didn't want to embarrass him in that way. But once she went back to her own apartment, Combs eventually went to that apartment, was banging on the door, kicking the door, yelling in the hallway. She said she never let him in, but that this kind of activity was pretty standard for their relationship. And just 2 days later, she had one of the biggest nights of her life, a movie premiere for a movie that she was in. She had to wear her dress, but she says she wore sunglasses and a lot of makeup the whole time. We saw photos of that interaction, of that night rather, where she kept those sunglasses on, and she said behind those sunglasses she had a black eye. There were photos shown to the jury of her from that night where you could not obviously see the black eye, but the jury was able to see some bruises on her shin. Throughout that experience, she said that she had told him he was sick, please stay far away from me, and that she was basically frustrated that this was going to be the biggest night and she had to wear, these sunglasses because she had a black eye. This is just one of the many experiences. But once again, we looked through binders. Jurors were able to see binders of these escorts who were hired, that she says were hired by her, but it was expected of her to do, that she used ketamine during a lot of these experiences because it helped her dissociate, but that she testified that Sean Combs did not like it when she did so. He didn't want her to use drugs when she did, but again, this was something that she did to help dissociate.
Okay, so now what do you all think about that? She says that Cassie said that Diddy didn't want her to use rugs when they were having the freak offs. Now, I'm sorry, do y'all hear that? That might help him, honey, in some sort of way. Okay, so anyway, let's get into these updates. Okay, here we go. Sometime during the first half of her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs, Cassie Ventura and her friends went to a party at Prince's house. Wait a minute, they went to Prince's house? See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, just imagine you knowing somebody or dating somebody that can take you to Prince's house, or you can get those kind of connections, okay? This is why people stay and deal with BS. Gwendolyn said, I ain't got much, but Queen, you working hard on these damn updates, child. Thank you, Gwendolyn. I love you, beloved. Thank you. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now listen. So they went to a party at Prince's house. She said she didn't tell Diddy about it because she thought he wouldn't let her go. Like he's her father or something. Diddy is so, let me just stop talking about him real quick. Okay, once she arrived at the party, Ventura caught a glimpse of Combs and could tell he was angry. So she said she ran out as fast as she could. Honey, she thought she was going to sneak to the party at Prince's house, but his behind was already there. Okay. So she says Combs later burst in the room at the hotel she was staying at. She said they went into the bedroom, so her friend who was sleeping on the couch couldn't hear anything. She says he beat me up in that room. He was throwing luggage at me, just calling me all kinds of names. Ventura said she had bruises on her face and knots on her head afterward. Ooh, honey, this is ghastly. I wouldn't have anything to do with Diddy. Honey, I'm telling y'all right now, if that had been me, honey, Diddy probably would be buried somewhere, okay? Now, the jury is now being shown an email that Cassie Ventura sent to her mom and one of Sean Diddy Combs' employees in December of 2011. Okay, the email said that Combs had threatened to release explicit sex tapes of her, including one on Christmas Day. Honey, this is also dirty and low down. He was going to let him out on Christmas Day, honey. Now, in the email, Ventura also said Combs threatened to hurt her and Scott Muscuddy, also known as Kid Cudi, who Ventura was dating at the time, but not with his own hands. Combs said he'd be out of the country when it happened. See how slick he is? Or he thought. Okay. That's what she said in the email. Now, Cassie Ventura has asked to take a short break. Okay, this was 11 minutes ago. She has to take a short break. She's been testifying about the physical violence that she says she endured while in a relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs learned Cassie Ventura was dating another man during a freak off in 2011. Ventura recalled Combs lunging at her with a wine opener between his fingers after he read through some emails referencing the man on her phone. Ventura said she managed to escape the freak off in a hotel room to go to another hotel where she had been staying. She called the man she'd been dating, Scott Muscuddy, also known as rapper Kid Cudi, on a burner phone to come pick her up. Ventura said after speaking with one of Combs' employees, she went over to Combs' house to talk about things and try to resolve the situation, but he was irate. She says he told me about the videos that he had that he was going to release and that he was about to hurt Scott and I. Okay, added that the videos he was referring to were the freak-offs. The jury on Wednesday was shown actually explicit images that were taken from some of the freak-off videos while Cassie Ventura was on the witness stand, sparking a visceral reaction from several jurors. If I were at the defense table, I would be very concerned because a picture speaks 1,000 words. Now, this is what the legal analyst says. Okay, Cassie was describing it in direct examination. Now you can see it in a picture. These still images, she says, are graphic enough to show and really hit home at Cassie, and really hit home that Cassie was not in a relationship as a consenting adult. The actual explicit images that were shown are out of view of the public from inside the courtroom, seen by the jury via binders that the prosecutors prepared, and on screen seen by Ventura and the jury. Now, when the images were shown to the jury, one female juror took a deep breath and rested her hand on her chest. Oh, honey, she had to clutch her pearls. This is all ghastly. Okay, a male juror looked at the screen at one of the images and his eyes appeared to move quickly. Honey, he didn't even want to look either. Do y'all hear this? Can y'all imagine what they had to see? This is so sad. Diddy is going down, honey. Now, the jury is back after a short break. The jury is in the courtroom. After taking a quick break, Cassie Ventura will continue her testimony. Okay, because remember, she gets 90-minute breaks, okay? She gets a 90-minute break every few hours or something like that, or whenever she requests one, I do believe. Okay, so let's go back to the video.
She also kind of confirmed the testimony that we heard from one of the male escorts on the first and second day of the trial, that she didn't like to kiss during these experiences. She said it made her feel squeamish, but that it was something that Sean Combs liked. And so she did it because she knew that he liked to. And then the other big part of the testimony today, Andrew, was the subject of these videos, that there were times that she asked in 2013 for Sean Combs to delete the messages. And he said that he did delete these videos. And later on, she found out that those videos were not deleted, that there was a point when someone told her that they had seen explicit videos of her, and that Sean Combs asked her to meet up with these people with his security guards. At one point, she even went to a security guard's house overnight because she feared for her safety with Sean Combs. It was actually one of his security guards that she went to this guy's house, D-Rock, to basically stay safe because she was worried about Combs. So just, it's different kinds of experiences over and over again, hearing about this violence. We are expecting later in the day to hear a little bit more from Cassie. She's expected to be on the stand for the next couple days.
All right, Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller live for us in New York. Alex, thank you for that update.
Day 3 of the criminal trial against Sean Combs, and we had more emotional testimony this morning from Cassie Ventura, including text messages that she sent to Combs after that 2016 hotel attack. She texted him, quote, "You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done." She paused at times throughout her testimony, but it was firm and it was delivered in a clear, soft-spoken voice. As she was testifying, Mr. Combs was sitting back in his chair, watching her intently, regularly conferring with his attorneys. He did not get emotional himself. Combs has not shown any overt emotion per se. Cassie today is wearing like a gray dress, whereas Diddy is in a white sweater again. His hair is entirely gray. He's a 55-year-old man, and you can see it. And it's a stark difference to see him inside that courtroom looking like his nickname that he asked for Ventura to call him, Pop-Pop. He absolutely looks like a grandfather in there.
Hey guys, Toby Mathis here, and question I get all the time is, how do I make my
Diddy
personal
absolutely looks
assets
like a grandfather
invisible?
there, okay?
Well, first off, can you even do that?
Well, Sean Diddy Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, is back on the stand for a second day of testimony in Mr. Combs' sex trafficking trial. Ventura began her testimony yesterday describing in graphic detail years of physical and sexual abuse. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is outside the courthouse in New York with the very latest. Katrina, what have we heard so far today?
So Cassie is back on the stand. One thing that I think is notable is that Sean Combs' family is in court again today, but not any of his daughters, who were all there yesterday during this very graphic testimony. His mother and his sons are still in the courtroom. We've been learning more about his relationship with Cassie, more details about these freak-offs that they engaged in, the escorts who were involved, and the violence that was involved. She talked about it as a situation that she just didn't feel that she could get away from. When she was asked how many times he was violent with her, she said that it was too many to count. Yesterday, we had also heard about the drugs that were involved in these situations. Today, another thing that she admitted on the stand is that she had an on and off addiction to opiates during that period. But she is continuing to unfold the story of how she felt trapped into this relationship, into these freak-offs. She talked about the blackmail material that she also referenced yesterday and elaborated that these were videotapes of them during the freak-offs. She worried that they could ruin her career. She was embarrassed about anyone ever getting to see them. Her testimony is still continuing on the stand now.
Yeah, it was difficult to listen to, Katrina. And we understand you have details about a contentious moment that sparked between two parties today. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so the judge had to call a ceasefire in court this morning between the two sides. It's a debate over exhibits, which may seem simple enough, but the defense doesn't want to have to turn over its marked exhibits to the prosecution ahead of time before these witnesses take the stand. They seem concerned that the government could prepare the witnesses for what the defense's strategy is, which they may be able to glean by looking at them. So they want to just be able to provide them right before cross-examination. The government says that doesn't give them enough time to review these, to potentially make challenges. This is something that they're still going to have to figure out. But for today, they're just going to turn those over right before the cross of Cassie Ventura. But this is very important for the strategies and the preparation of both sides. And it really was a very contentious moment in court this morning.
Katrina Kaufman, thank you so much. Our team continues to follow this trial from inside the courtroom today, and you can get all of their live updates by simply going to our CBS News website and scrolling through all the news that you may have missed.
Like literally, I went through what you did, and it just hit me. It doesn't hit everybody that way.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but it hit me in a way like.
Okay, so it looks like the prosecution and the defense got into a little beef this morning in court, honey. They're taking this very seriously. Doesn't look like it's looking so good for Diddy right about now. Please pay attention. Not from the sounds of it. Let me see what else I can find out. Okay, here we go.
Girlfriend Cassie Ventura is back on the stand for a second day of testimony in Mr. Combs' sex trafficking trial. Ventura began her testimony yesterday describing in graphic detail years of physical and sexual abuse. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is outside the courthouse in New York with the very latest. Katrina, what have we heard so far today?
So Cassie is back on the stand. One thing that I think is notable is that Sean Combs' family is in court again today, but not any of his daughters, who were all there yesterday during this very graphic testimony. His mother and his sons are still in the courtroom. We've been learning more about his relationship with Cassie, more details about these freak-offs that they engaged in, the escorts who were involved, and the violence that was involved. She talked about it as a situation that she just didn't feel that she could get away from. When she was asked how many times he was violent with her, she said that it was too many to count. Yesterday, we had also heard about the drugs that were involved in these situations. Today, another thing that she admitted on the stand is that she had an on and off addiction to opiates during that period. But she is continuing to unfold the story of how she felt trapped into this relationship, into these freak-offs. She talked about the blackmail material that she also referenced yesterday and elaborated that these were videotapes of them during the freak-offs.
Okay, so Cassie once emailed her mom warning her that Sean Diddy Combs was threatening to release X-rated videos about her. Imagine having to tell your mother that. Okay, now the R&B singer sent the email to her mother and Combs' former assistant, Capricorn Clark, on December of 2011, saying the threats that Sean Combs has made of me are that he will release 2 sexually explicit videos on Christmas Day and one on another day. The jury was then shown photos of Cassie's bruised back and legs that her mother took. When asked if she was open and honest about the abuse at Combs' hands, she responded, "No, I told her it was the first time." Cassie also said that she didn't tell her mom about the freak-offs the Bad Boy Records founder regularly made her participate in. She said, "I couldn't hurt her like that. It's not normal. Constantly being bruised up by the person that loves you or who says they love you." Cassie then asked for a quick break, which the judge granted. Honey, Diddy doesn't love anybody besides himself. Now, Cassie told the jury about Sean Diddy Combs beating her after spotting her at an exclusive party being held at Prince's house in Los Angeles. The R&B singer told jurors that she didn't tell Combs that she was going because she knew he would have definitely not let me go, but she didn't want to miss the once-in-a-lifetime experience. Cassie said that she went to the party with her pals and saw Prince, who has since died, saw him perform in his basement, but Combs showed up unexpectedly and she bolted. She said she caught a glimpse of him and ran as fast as she could. "I knew he was angry at me." She testified that she remembered running and falling in a bush, but couldn't remember what happened next. Later at the hotel, Diddy caught up to her and beat her. Dirty devil. Diddy, you need to go to jail just for beating that girl like that at the end of the day. Never mind if you were trafficking or not. He needs to go to jail for just beating her like this and all this other nefarious things that he's accused of. Okay? D Hood really said those videos will come out one day regardless of how much they try not to release it. Whoever leak it first will make a couple of $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised. You know how that goes. These celebrity videotapes. Kim Kardashian, Pamela Anderson, and others. Okay, here's a couple of more. Let me see what this was talking about. Ooh, Diddy is just methodical. Okay, upon arriving at her family home for Christmas in 2011, Ventura had photos taken showing bruises on her buttocks. He must have kicked her in the butt. Said she had bruises on her buttocks and upper right thigh. The result, she said, of her visit to Combs' home to try to resolve his jealousy over her relationship with Scott Muscuddy. Ventura said that she told her mother about the physical violence, but not the freak-offs. Cassandra Ventura has asked for a break, so the court is briefly adjourned. Judge Aaron Subramanian said, or he asked the prosecution to estimate how much more time they need to question Ventura for today. He's been ending court promptly at 5 p.m. Okay, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the last few days. Prosecution said they need another hour and not to hold, but don't hold them to that. It sounds like the defense will be able to start its cross-examination of Ventura before the end of the day. I don't know, because it's 3:30. If they're going to wrap it up at 5, and the prosecution is saying give them another hour, but don't count on it or don't hold them to that. I think the prosecution is going to take up the rest of the day, likely. And the defense may not get to start the cross-examination until tomorrow. That's what it's looking like for me, or to me. What do y'all think? Let me see what CNN's talking about. The jury has been shown photos of Cassie Ventura with a black eye, which was mostly concealed by sunglasses. I've shown you all that picture before when Cassie had that black eye. If you missed it, here it is right here. Oh, look at her lips. Bruise on her head right there. Darn shame. Diddy is nothing but the devil. Nicole says, gotta support Queen, ain't playing games. Hashtag pay attention. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Thank you for your kind words and your contributions to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, we getting it in, y'all. We are getting it in. Okay. So let's go back to this video while I wait for some other updates.
She worried that they could ruin her career. She was embarrassed about anyone ever getting to see them. Her testimony is still continuing on the stand now.
Yeah, it was difficult to listen to, Katrina. And we understand you have details about a contentious moment that sparked between two parties today. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so the judge had to call a ceasefire in court this morning between the two sides. It's a debate over exhibits, which may seem simple enough, but the defense doesn't want to have to turn over its marked exhibits to the prosecution ahead of time before these witnesses take the stand. They seem concerned that the government could prepare the witnesses for what the defense's strategy is, which they may be able to glean by looking at them. So they want to just be able to provide them right before cross-examination. The government says that doesn't give them enough time to review these, to potentially make challenges. This is something that they're still going to have to figure out. But for today, they're just going to turn those over right before the cross of Cassie Ventura. But this is very important for the strategies and the preparation of both sides. And it really was a very contentious moment in court this morning.
Katrina Kaufman, thank you so much. Our team continues to follow this trial from inside the courtroom today, and you can get all of their live updates by simply going to our CBS News website and scrolling through all the news that you may have missed.
3 signs your car accident is worth major compensation. If you've been in a car accident recently,
Okay, updates. This is about Kid Cudi's car getting blown up. Okay, I'm going to read the updates from 2 different sources. Okay, Ventura says, I sent an email to my mom in Capricorn from my flight to Boston and Connecticut. AUSA says, what did you write? She says that Sean said he would release the tape of me on Christmas, and he had Scott and I hurt. He said that he would be out of the country then. Okay, so then 309. Okay, this is when they come back from the break in court. At 309, they're back. Judge says, Miss Johnson, any estimate? AUSA Johnson says an hour more. The goal is to finish the direct and allow the start of the cross-examination today. Judge says, bring the witness and then the jury back in. Okay, so AUSA says, where did you go after Connecticut? Ventura says, I went to see Sean. He was in Arizona, his son, college. I told my mother I was going to LA for work. AUSA said, did Sean talk about Scott's car? Ventura said, Sean said he wanted Scott's friends to see Scott's car blown up. Diddy is nothing but the devil, okay? Now that's one source, so I'm going to go to the other one, see what they're talking about. Okay, so the jury's back after the break. Okay, they say the jury has been shown photos of Cassie Ventura with a black eye, which was mostly concealed by sunglasses. The photos were taken in Jamaica in 2013 or 2014, she said. Now, Ventura testified that she doesn't remember exactly how Sean Diddy Combs gave her the injury, but she recalled hiding from Combs underneath a tractor with a friend for several hours. Can you imagine? Sean Diddy Combs told Cassie Ventura that rapper Kid Cudi's car would be blown up. Okay, Ventura testified earlier that she was dating Kid Cudi at the time. Combs told her that he wanted Kid Cudi's friends to see the car blown up in the driveway of Scott's home. At some point, his car did blow up. Sometime after the car blew up, Combs, Ventura, and Kid Cudi had a meeting at Soho House about their relationship. When Cudi asked about his vehicle, Ventura said Combs responded, "What vehicle?" Ha! Do y'all hear this? Said what vehicle? The meeting promptly ended after that. I guess the man wanted him to pay him for his car that you blew up. Y'all hear this? Diddy is unbelievable. Okay, please pay attention. He asked him, what about my vehicle? And he said, what vehicle? Oh my goodness, buddy. I'm sorry. I could not have done it. Okay, so then Cassandra Ventura is now testifying about an altercation in 2015 in which she said Sean Diddy Combs beat her in his Las Vegas hotel while he hosted a party in the adjoining room. Now, she says he punched me, kicked me. I was trying to run away, and I made it into the bathroom, she says, describing how she tried to hide underneath the toilet to get away from him. Members of Combs' security and management teams finally came into the room to end it. Okay, Ventura said, this is what she said, describing how she had black eyes and a golf ball sized knot on, not just one, golf ball sized knots on her forehead. She said that one of Combs' security guards started to cry when he saw her. Ventura said that she had to stay at Combs' house for a little less than a week to recover from the injuries. Combs' son was also staying at the house with Ventura at the time. So his kids know he's low down and dirty. Okay, they know some of this stuff. They've seen him go into rages, I'm sure. When Combs saw her injuries during a FaceTime call, he told her to put more makeup on so his son would see the injuries. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Dirty dog. Put more makeup on so the son would see it. I would have put nothing on it. Okay, I would have put nothing on it the other day. Diddy is just, I don't think words can even describe him at this point, okay? Diddy's definitely going down because, listen, at this point, these people don't even care if he was trafficking. They just have heard enough dirt on him, okay? They've just heard and seen enough dirt on him. And then here's the thing. After we hear about the responses from the jurors, after watching those screenshots of the freak-offs, what in the world did they see? Okay, I can only imagine. This is all so sick and twisted. Honey, you know what? If I was the defense, I'd just pack my briefcases for the day, get my keys, and say, look, honey, Diddy, you're on your own, okay? The check's in the mail. I'm going to give you back a refund on a portion. It's nothing I can do to help you. Okay, you're dragging us all down. I'd have to be done with it. And this is all crazy. Ethelene said, P. Diddy is a dirty dick dog. He damn sure is. He is the worst. Okay, Powell Bunyan said it's the Terminator testifying. You mean the Punisher? It's a few S workers going to testify, and I can't wait to see what they have to say about this, honey. Okay. Don Joe said the white escort dude talked about contracting herpes years ago. They kept handing it out to others. Yes, they did. I think Diddy was purposely giving it to people. I think that's why he didn't want Cassie using protection with these S workers. Because who would just sit up there and put themselves in that type of, danger with S workers? You're not going to use any protection? Like, that's absolutely crazy, honey. I'm sorry. Cassie may have been afraid for her life of Diddy and what he was doing, but making her sleep around with all of those men and telling her she couldn't use protection, I would have been just as scared of that. Because either way, you can get something that you can't get rid of, okay, and end up dead, honey. I'd have been gone so quick. Diddy is the devil. I am so through. Then sitting up there in court reading the Bible. Who gave him that Bible? One of his nefarious attorneys. Okay. The Equal said that girl could have a brain injury. I mean, really? Agent Smith said they're all a bunch of degenerates. All the rich and famous are jaded because they have it all and want more. I'm starting to think that, beloved. I really think that many of them are. Okay, these people are just absolutely obnoxious. Don Joe said they're all guilty of spreading diseases to and fro. That's facts, not to and fro. Not to and fro. Okay, Marie said kissing made Cassie feel disgusted, but freaking off was cool. I mean, that's what I was thinking. She said she didn't want to kiss them, but honey, somebody putting golden showers in your mouth, honey, I'm sorry. That's a whole lot worse than kissing as far as I'm concerned. It's no way. Okay, Hansel said Jonathan Oddie testifying. Now, they didn't mention him in court today. They showed Cassie a picture of him, and then she said that was him. Basically, she confirmed that was him. I don't know if he's testified or not. If he is, he's going to have to come in his prison uniform, I'm sure, with shackles and handcuffs on. Okay. Tyology Terry said walking STDs for sure. Okay. Terry said, I'm surprised that Bible didn't combust into flames. Gravedigger said Diddy is dead. No, he's not. Okay, Anita said Diddy acting like a preacher. A preacher didn't need to sit down somewhere. Okay. Ugh. It's all ghastly, honey, at the end of the day. Okay, let me see what else I can find real quick. Y'all just hold tight, beloveds. This is a lot. We have like an hour and 15 minutes until they're going to adjourn, honey. I hope they give us some more tea or start up. Here's another update. Let me see here. Okay, so Cassie Ventura also witnessed Sean Diddy Combs physically abuse other people, including some of his employees. She recounted a time that she said she saw Combs punch someone in the head, honey. He just beat people and not even taking names. Now, on a separate occasion on an international trip, Ventura testified that she saw Combs drag the assistant Maya out of her bed and onto the deck outside of her room after she resisted when he tried to take her phone. Ventura went on to describe seeing Combs hold her friend over the balcony railing at her Los Angeles apartment early one morning, saying there was an incident where I was asleep in my room, and when I came out, Sean was holding her and threw her onto the patio furniture. I saw him bring her back over the railing of the balcony and then throw her onto the patio furniture. Prosecutor Emily Johnson displayed a headshot of Ventura's friend. Ventura testified she is still friends with the woman. Now, Cassie Ventura said her friendship with her best friend of 17 years ended in 2018 after an altercation with Diddy Combs. She says he came in, saw that we were going to do he came in, saw that we were going to do rugs, and he hit her in the head with a hanger, she says, noting that it was a wooden hanger. So Diddy didn't want her doing rugs with her friends, only with him, I guess. Ladybug said, New Jack City. What? He was acting like Nino Brown. Honey, he was 10 times worse than Nino. 10 times worse. Let's see what's going on here. I'm still torn up about when Kid Cudi said, what about my vehicle? And he said, what vehicle? Cassie testified about how she once saw Sean Diddy Combs drag his assistant on a trip in Turks and Caicos. The R&B singer said on one day of the trip, after they'd all been smoking and partying on the beach, Combs went to the assistant's room and dragged her outside. I think she's fallen asleep, Cassie recounted. He tried grabbing her phone, and then he dragged her out of the bed and onto the desk outside of her room. Cassie said on the trip there had been a freak off. Cassie referred to the assistant as Maya, who is apparently the same woman expected to testify at trial anonymously under the pseudonym Maya. Prosecutors alleged during opening statements that Maya worked for Combs for years as his personal assistant and that he forced her to perform fellatio on him and also raped her. American Islam said, did Kid Cudi testify or was that story hearsay? No, they haven't said anything about him testifying. The only person testifying today and yesterday is Cassie, the S worker. The day before that, it was an S worker and a police officer. Those are the only witnesses we had thus far. Victim number 4 and 5 will testify after Cassie. Reggie, what are you talking about? Oh man, this would just be so great if we could literally see inside the courtroom. Okay, this really should be streamed. They need to change the laws, honey. This is how you know. Listen, this is how you know there's no way, absolutely no way, that Diddy could get an impartial jury from anybody that didn't hear of this story, because there is somebody in Africa even reporting on Diddy's ass. Are y'all hearing this? This is somebody from Africa. Their channel is called BTM Africa. It says 15 minutes unedited Diddy Cassie hotel assault video. Oh, this is all a lot. Released by the Department of Justice. This is a whole mess. AUSA says, your brother's birthday party in Connecticut in 2013. What happened? Ventura says, my mother told me someone was taking pictures of me. I went and punched her in the head. Oh, so this is when Cassie got into the fight. See, this is the thing. The defense is just messing up because they've already let their strategy of how they're going to approach Cassie during cross-examination. They've already let that out the bag. So please pay attention. Now the prosecution is asking the questions before the defense even gets a chance to. Okay, so anyway, she says, your brother's birthday party in Connecticut in 2013, what happened? Ventura says, my mother told me someone was taking pictures of me. I went and punched her in the head. So let me get this straight, Cassie. Somebody's taking pictures of you, then rather than go over and say, excuse me, can you please not take pictures without my consent or whatever, without asking, it's just rude. You walk over and punch them in the head? Or her and Diddy might have been a match made in heaven, but let me continue. She says, I went over and punched her in the head. AUSA said, you testified your relationship with Sean ended in 2018. How was your health? So is that all she wants to know about that fight? She didn't ask too many details. So anyway, Ventura said, I was sleepwalking. I had PTSD. Defense says objection. Judge says overruled. AUSA says, what's this? Ventura said, a photo of my front door in 2018. AUSA says, publish it to the jury. Why is there a knife there? Ventura said, Sean was coming around a lot, so I had it. Honey, you don't need a knife for Diddy. You need a gun, okay? You need a gun for him. Okay, AUSA says, August 2018, what happened? Ventura said, we were having a closure conversation at a restaurant in Malibu. He was trying to convince me to go to Burning Man. Okay, AUSA said, were you seeing anymore? She says, were you seeing anymore? Ventura says, my now husband. So then AUSA says, what happened next? Ventura says, Sean came to my house and raped me on my living room floor. His eyes were black. It was like taking something from you. AUSA cried, what did Sean do? Ventura says, he continued and finished inside of me. Then he got up and left. Did he just low down and dirty, honey? Okay. Just a whole mess. I just wonder how Diddy feels sitting there hearing all this stuff about his stupid self. I mean, you have all this money, fame, and fortune, power, all these people just singing your praises, all this money that you've stolen from other artists, okay? So I'm just saying, why you couldn't just live your life peacefully? Raise your kids, teach them about generational wealth, and just get you somebody and get married or something. But no, you have to be nefarious. And this is where you are, Diddy, with your stupid self. This is exactly where you are. Okay, but not for long, because you're going to be going from the courtroom into the prison cell in just a few minutes. Okay? After this trial is over, and in just a few weeks, Aqua Girl Rising said, Queen, play the song, he fugged up. Okay, I'm going to play that while I'm looking for some more updates.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? You know you done fucked up.
Okay, so listen, here's what I find interesting. Okay, so the prosecution is choosing not to show those freak off videos of Cassie's. So that's why they showed the still shots. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that the reason they don't want to show the videos but only the still shots is so they can go to specific parts that are very graphic and clearly, you know, just disgusting, I'm sure, and they can show the jurors only what they want them to see. And they're likely not going to show the entire videos because remember, Mark Agnifilo said they look very consensual. So here's what they say. Prosecutors showed 5 still images taken from videos recovered from electronic devices that Cassie provided to investigators. One juror's eyes widened at the first exchange or the first image of Cassie and a male S worker that she identified as Jules. Okay, they appeared on the screen in front of him. Another juror shook his head from side to side as the image was shown. As the presentation continued, another male juror pressed his hand and pen against his face as he studied the images intently. One woman on the panel pursed her lips. Many took notes as Cassie described what was happening in the images. She said they showed her at various stages of the encounters. Now, the images were shown only on monitors in the jury box and witness stand. The feed was cut to the public gallery in overflow rooms because of their sensitive nature. Prosecutors provided binders with printed copies to the judge and defense counsel. At one point, Combs asked his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, for the binder. Diddy wanted to see those pictures and see what the jury is looking at. So Combs discreetly thumbed through the images, keeping them out of view of the public in the gallery behind him. After a few moments, Combs closed the book and handed it back to Agnifilo. He probably said, damn, they got me. It's a wrap. So a defense complaint that testimony about violence was not specific enough prompted a prosecutor to elicit from Cassie a history of notable events of violence that she said she had suffered at the hands of Combs. The first she testified came early in the first, according to her testimony, came early in their relationship in 2007. Cassie said she was at a dinner with Sean and friends when she spotted Combs flirting with somebody. She said she shrugged her shoulders when somebody else who saw it looked at her. Okay, but then said Combs attacked her in the car. Okay, we heard this one already. Okay, so she said that when she went home for Christmas in 2011 with bruises from an altercation. Okay, we already heard that. That's when she talked to her mom. Prior to the Christmas trip home, Cassie said Combs had lunged at her with a corkscrew and kicked her in the back when he learned that she had started dating rapper Kid Cudi. Cassie testified that she saw Combs bring one of her friends back over a railing of a balcony at the Los Angeles apartment. Okay, we got that one. The R&B singer Cassie returns to the witness stand Wednesday after a day spent recounting grotesque and humiliating details of her life with ex-boyfriend Sean Diddy Combs. Okay, here's a couple more. Let me see where to start. Okay, so Cassandra Ventura also witnessed Sean Diddy Combs physically abuse other people. Okay, we got this one already. There was an incident when I was asleep in my room. Yeah, we got that one already. Okay. Cassandra Ventura said her friendship with her best friend of 17 years ended in 2018. Okay, we got that one already. Hold on, beloveds. Okay. Cassandra Ventura testified that she often took narcotics And she often took narcotics from and with Sean Diddy Combs. And she said there was a period of time where she took opiates daily. She would feel ill if she didn't take them. Okay. She said she was heavily dependent on the opiates throughout her relationship with Combs. She said that she sought professional help from the opiate use 5 or 6 times during the span of the relationship. She said that she last did the rugs in 2022 and she no longer uses narcotics. I went to rehab and sought professional help, she says. Remember how I told y'all that her husband, Alex Fine, supposedly had to help her get off of the rugs with the D, and that's why he signed her up for rehab, supposedly. Cassie Ventura testified that she wedged a knife in a door handle because at the time she was getting a lot of unannounced visits from Sean, where he was really angry. Prosecutor Emily Johnson showed the jury a photo from 2018 of the large knife in the door. It said, "Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, lock it and have a weapon," Ventura said. Terry said, "Wow, she became an entire addict." Yes, she absolutely did, unfortunately. Okay, so you all remember earlier, if you all remember earlier, I told you that Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, is supposed to testify about some incident that happened in 2018 when Cassie claims Diddy came to the house and assaulted and raped her. So he's supposed to have some information about that. And the defense is supposed to be calling him. I'm still interested to find out what this is all about because it looks like it's getting close to that time. Okay, for Cassie to start the cross-exam. Payo Bunyan says, "No excuse. Cassie did choose wealth with abuse over poverty with dignity." Well, I guess one could say that. Terry Hinn said, "I hope they have more witnesses for the racketeering and trafficking charges." Listen, I want y'all to hear this. Songwriter Sonny, if you don't sit down somewhere, Songwriter Sonny said, in the Diddy biopic, Keke Palmer will play the Queen Amadaya character towards the end of the movie. Okay, not Keke Palmer, beloved. Let me see what we have here. Okay, that's the update so far. Reggie said that would be cute. Okay. I love Keke Palmer, by the way. Red said, "I can see Keke playing the Queen." You can. I can too. Duke Famous said, "Diddy Netflix show series will be crazy." Do they have one on Netflix? They have so many Diddy documentaries already. It's just interesting to me. I mean, they don't waste any time. They have at least about 4 of them out already. And we're not even halfway through the trial. Pay attention. Some of these people on the jury are likely going to write books about all of this later on, too. Dr. Doom said Derek Duke playing Diddy in Notorious was a joke. That was ridiculous, okay? That was absolutely nefarious. I couldn't even take it serious. Okay, we're going to go to this video from CNN.
Of Sean Diddy Combs is back on the stand for a second day in the music mogul's criminal trial. Cassie Ventura shared shocking allegations of abuse during her testimony yesterday, and she also gave graphic details on the so-called freak-offs and then broke down in tears when asked about how she felt about the alleged events. Ventura said they made her feel disgusting and humiliated. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all 5 charges, including sex trafficking.
And a quick note to our viewers right now, CNN's coverage of this trial. You'll see on the left side of your screen, you'll see information coming in from our reporters who are inside the courtroom. It will be updating throughout the show. That's because there is no video or audio recording allowed in federal courts.
All right, let's bring in CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig and former federal prosecutor Elise Adamson. Great to have you both here. So Ventura is still testifying. This is her second day. Right now, she is talking about that Uber ride home after the video we've seen from the hotel where Diddy is seen pulling her, attacking her. Tell us about her testimony and why that video is so important.
Well, so this is more corroboration. This is more support that prosecutors are trying to build in to Cassie Ventura's testimony. Of course, the surveillance video of the hotel assault is the most important piece, but now we're seeing the prosecutors use some other pieces of evidence, selfies, text messages, emails, things that were on Cassie Ventura's phone, because they want the jury to believe her unconditionally. And I want to make an important point here that the defense argument is that yes, this was domestic violence, but it's not racketeering, it's not sex trafficking. But it's important to know, and I think prosecutors are going to argue this, those things are not mutually exclusive. It can be both. In fact, one of the things prosecutors have to show is that there was force or coercion. And so that beating, if I was the prosecutor, I would argue, yeah, you bet it's domestic violence, but it also goes to the sex trafficking and racketeering.
Because the argument could be made that from the prosecution side is that was a form of coercion, that perhaps she was afraid that she would get beaten up, and that is why she did some of these acts. And we should note, she talked about the selfies where she had a swollen lip and a black eye under her sunglasses. So clearly the prosecution is trying to draw that out. Wolf.
And it's interesting, Elise, because right now we're being told by our reporters who are inside the courtroom that Cassie Ventura reviewed a binder of more than a dozen photos that were shown, and clearly she was upset. She said she typically reached out to escorts to arrange these freak-offs because it was her job, and she felt she would be punished if she didn't do that.
Yeah, that's incredibly important because remember, the defense opened on the fact that Ventura was a willing participant. That's their theory of the case, that she was Combs's lover and she wanted to be there. And so they had to grapple, the prosecution had to grapple with the fact that Ventura was the one that was arranging some of these freak-offs. I think the prosecution is doing a wonderful job explaining why that was. By framing this as a job instead of something that she wanted to do, it makes it clear that there perhaps was that coercion. And by tying it to that violence, as Ellie just said, the photos, the corroboration of the black eyes, shows that she didn't really have a choice. She was going to be punished if she didn't comply. And that's key.
And she said that, she just testified under oath that when she paid these men to be in these so-called freak-offs, it was with Combs's money. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, I think the argument prosecutors are trying to make here is it sounds a little strange, but the freak-offs are not about the sex, or at least the sex is not what's relevant to you, the jury. What's relevant is those freak-offs show the element of coercion, as Elise was saying, and they show that there's some organization at play here. Remember, this is a racketeering charge, the first charge here, and that means that there was some sort of organized enterprise that was committing multiple crimes. So prosecutors need to show this was more than whatever sexual proclivities may have been, felt here by Sean Combs. There was some organization here with respect to people and methods and payments. And I think that's what prosecutors are building on.
And also another important point, you have the racketeering and the sex trafficking charge. And what I've noticed, and she just talked about it, was the fact that some of this happened across state lines, that it happened in different states. And that is key in terms of the sex trafficking charge. Also, she's talking right now about in January 2016 that Combs sent her a text that he wanted to have a proper FO, freak off, where they didn't take ketamine. Of course, drugs have also been a big part of all of this. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, the crossing state lines is what gets us into federal court. It sounds like they're going to have no problem establishing that. This happened in California, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and elsewhere. Yes. So the point with the freak-offs, and we're going to have a proper freak-off and that kind of thing, and the drugs are part of the persuasion. The drugs are part of the coercion, the threats that make this more than just sex or even more than just domestic violence.
And if I could just add, I mean, that's what Ventura said, that she had to take the drugs to dissociate so she could participate. That doesn't sound like willing participation to me. It probably won't sound like willing participation to a jury.
It's interesting, Elise. Right now, Cassie Ventura is 8 months pregnant with a very visible baby bump. We've learned that the defense asked the judge to have her seated in the witness box before the jury came in, arguing that her pregnancy would prejudice the jury against Combs. The judge said no. What do you think of that request?
Yeah, look, Wolf, I knew the defense had to try, right? Because they're not going to view her as this 22-year-old girl who set up all of these meetings. They're looking at her now as a 38-year-old mother. And it could possibly invoke some sympathy in the jurors. Listen, jurors are human beings. They're going to feel things, but you can't hide the fact that this is a pregnant woman. And so I think the judge rightly said, no, she's going to be able to walk to the witness stand. And she's not doing anything to inflame the passions of the jury. I don't hear any reporting of her really playing up her pregnancy, but they're going to have to contend with the fact that Cassie is a person. And from everything I've heard from the reporting, she's also testifying very well, very credibly and emotionally.
And she's there with her husband who's inside with her as well. And just now we're being told by our reporters in the courtroom that Ventura testified that she tried to avoid kissing the escorts during the so-called freak-offs because it felt too intimate and made me squeamish. That's what she said. And explain to our viewers in terms that we can use here on CNN what these freak-offs were.
Oh boy, that's quite an assignment. What they were these extended, sometimes for a day or 2 days, sexual gatherings. They would usually do them in hotel rooms. Sean Combs would arrange them and engineer them. He would tell Cassie what to do. They would bring in male escorts. One of the things Sean Combs would do is watch Cassie with those male escorts. There were all sorts of lubricants involved. There's baby oil. It's part of this case.
Don't let them fool you. They're sitting there acting like they don't know what freak-offs are. Please, where do y'all think Diddy learned it from? Pay attention.
But again, the thing that's really relevant to this trial is not whether one agrees or disagrees with the sexual proclivities or is offended by it, but were these voluntary activities? And I think the prosecution's point, as Elise was saying, is the more extreme this conduct was, the less likely it is that Cassie Ventura would have consented to this, and that she was doing it because she felt forced or compelled or under a threat.
How should the defense approach questioning Ventura during cross-examination?
Yeah, so remember, Pamela, she's pregnant, and that's relevant because of the sensitivities involved in that. At the same time, I think you have to get to the core issue, right? You could, as Ellie said, take what she said. Hey, this happened, that abuse happened. You can believe your eyes, they're not lying. What I want to focus on, ladies and gentlemen, is the issue of a 10-year relationship. And there came a point in year 2 where he brought up to you, that is Sean Combs, that we want to do this. We want to be a little freaky. We want to get other people involved, right? You had an opportunity to say no. Did you? You had an opportunity to walk away in year 3. Did you? Year 4, year 5, you continued with it. Is that right? In fact, you paid some of these performers and you wanted and were enjoying these experiences, right? Okay. And so the issue really involves force, fraud, or coercion. And in fact, you called one of the male sex workers back up to re-engage in activities, and you, quite frankly, enjoyed it. So it's important to know, Pamela, the issue really is not about a person's sex life on trial. Jurors are not there to be the morality police. They're not there to police whether or not someone has a sex life we agree with, we think is appropriate. We may think they're sick and demented. The issue is it a federal offense? Where's the fraud? Where's the coercion, right? Where is it that there was a gun put to your head and you said, hey, you need to do this? You could have opted out of the relationship, the defense will say, on several occasions. Did you do that?
Okay, isn't this everything that I've already told you all? I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And here's the thing. Why are they trying to gloss over the fact that in some of those text exchanges, Cassie was asking to do freak-offs? Just because she says, oh, I was just asking to do it because I just wanted to make him happy. No, I'm not buying that. If you wanted to make him happy because of freak-offs, then it would make more sense if he had asked for the freak-off. Okay, if you don't want to do the freak off, you should hope that he doesn't even bring it up that day. But when she brought it up, said, oh, I really want a freak off. Okay, do y'all believe that she was doing that because she wanted to please him? He didn't even ask for it. She did. The fact that she was requesting freak offs and doing so much due diligence to get to know these strippers and hiring these people and all of this stuff just shows complicity, and the fans know that. Okay, all of these people are painting narratives. I just want y'all to pay attention, because at the end of the day, here's the thing. I don't like Diddy, and I hope Diddy does go to prison. But the bottom line is we sit here and see, I just want you all to pay attention. Because you see, they all know that the court of public opinion is judging Diddy, okay, and that most people think Diddy's nefarious and want to see him go down. But if you just sit back and watch, you can see how dirty they play. Now, just imagine this wasn't Diddy, but some other decent black person whom someone simply was lying on. Now, maybe they had been volatile in a volatile relationship, put pause on somebody a time or two, but just think about it. Okay, how they're manipulating the situation to their favor. They're trying so desperately to make this trafficking. There's nothing they've shown yet that says trafficking. Trafficking is when people are being pimped. Trafficking is when somebody is making somebody have relations with people, and those people are paying for these services. It's the solicitation of it all. And they don't have any of that here. Now, Diddy is a dirtbag straight from hell, as far as I'm concerned, beating and fighting and all this other stuff, but they didn't charge Diddy with any of the things that he actually did, from what we all can see. Now, they're trying to make this into as trafficking. That's not what it is. So what if the jury is smart enough to see that, and they say, well, you know, he did some stuff, he's really a scumbag, he needs to be in prison, but this doesn't look like trafficking, and then Diddy just gets out of there? Okay, like, why didn't they just charge him with what he actually did? I just have several questions, because this ain't it, but let's continue.
oh, well, he was affecting my career. Okay, but, right, there are other people besides Sean Combs that you could potentially have relied upon, that you could have potentially gone out with, right? So the bottom line is, yes, there are a lot of sensitivities, Pamela, in this cross-examination, and a lot of things I said where people may be throwing things at the TV screen. But at the end of the day, keep your eyes on the prize. The defense attorneys would say, not about sex, not about salaciousness, it's about criminality.
Okay, y'all.
Now to New York.
Hold on, let me see who this is. Okay, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play that video, but this is Court TV, so I'm going to use an overlay because I don't want any drama, honey. Y'all know how ScrewTube gets. Let me put an overlay on this. And meanwhile, I'm searching for more updates, okay? I'm trying to stay on top of it, people. Please be patient. I'm multitasking over here. All right, give me just a second. Okay, here we go. And then I'm going to turn on the music also. Oops, there we go.
And the alleged freak-offs. Joining us now from outside the Diddy trial in Manhattan at the federal courthouse, legal correspondent Kelly Kraft. Kelly, I understand the jury is now on the mid-morning break. Fill us in on what has happened so far today.
Good morning to you, Ted. So 3 things that I want to talk about and review with our viewers that took place in court just a short time ago before they went to break. So Cassie Ventura is still on the stand, or was on the stand this morning under direct examination, the continuation of her cross-examination. So 3 big things came out of her testimony this morning. One, talking about that video at the Intercontinental Hotel in which we see Sean Diddy Combs dragging her on the floor and beating her. The second thing that we'll talk about is then how she went to a friend's house and the police, she went to her house, a friend was there, the friend called the police. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then the third thing is blackmail. So that first thing in regard to the video, she was talking about what took place right after that beating in the Intercontinental Hotel. She got in an Uber, she went back to her apartment, her friend was there, her friend saw that she had some injuries. Cassie also took a selfie of herself. She had sunglasses on, and it showed that she had a busted lip. Her friend called the police came over, but at that time, Cassie was not comfortable telling the police that the person who did this to her was Sean Combs. So the second big thing that just took place in court is this binder of men. Yesterday during court proceedings, we saw a binder of men that participated in these freak-offs in which Cassie Ventura went through that binder and named the men, one of whom was named the Punisher. Today, another binder of men. This one contained 13. Cassie was asked to do the exact same thing. Go through that binder, identify the men, talk about them and their participation in these freak-offs. She also said that it was her job to contact these escorts and to get them to come with them to Ibiza and all the other places that they were traveling to, New York, Turks and Caicos, as well as Los Angeles, California. The third thing that I want to talk about is this blackmail situation in which
Okay, so when we get back to her, she's going to be talking about the blackmail situation, but let's go to this update. So the last that we left off, Cassie was saying that Diddy broke in her house, her apartment, and raped her in 2018 after she was done with it. So AUSA says, did you ever have sex with him again? Ventura says, yes, voluntarily. We had a good night. I went back to his house. AUSA said, can you explain why you did that after he raped you? Ventura said, we had been together for 10 years. Okay, that's not making sense. I'm sorry. If I'm done with you and you've done all these low down things to me, honey, and then you burst in my house and grape me, I don't care how long we've been together. Honey, I'm not talking to you. Calling the police is what I'm doing. But anyway, I digress. So goes on to say that AUSA says, who did you stay in touch with? Ventura said, most people, though I pulled away. AUSA says, what did you message Sean about after that? Ventura said, just checking in. AUSA said, what did he send you? Ventura says, what did he send you? She says that he had the iPads full of images. Get him his money. She said that's what he told her. He got iPads full of messages. Get me my money. No, he didn't. Not run me my money. Okay, so then AUSA says, money back for what? Ventura says, for having paid for my now husband to be my trainer. AUSA says, what did you write back? Ventura says, do you want me to tell the truth? It's much deeper than iPads. There was abuse, more than freak-offs. Okay, this is all nefarious. She said more than freak-offs. Then Ventura says, there was a time that I couldn't take the pain. Tried to walk out in traffic. My husband wouldn't let me. I had trauma therapy. AUSA said, did you write? Ventura said, a book with chapters. My mom helped. Okay, AUSA said, how many freak-offs did you have with Sean? Ventura said, impossible to know. Hundreds. AUSA said, after you broke up with Sean, did you ever do a freak-off? Ventura says, no. Ugh. Okay, then the judge says, I'm sorry, not the judge. Oh yeah, it is the judge. The judge says, why don't we pull off the cross? Why don't we put off the cross until tomorrow? Didn't I tell you? I told you there's no way they're going to be able to start the cross today. They may as well wait till tomorrow, like the judge just requested. Now, AUSA Johnson says, we'd like to start now to be sure to finish. Judge says, Miss Estavio says she will be finished by the end of the week. Judge says, so no cross today. Okay. AUSA says, what happened to the lawsuit? Ventura says it's settled for $20 million in 24 hours. So she got $20 million from Diddy, y'all, not $30 million. Says it was settled for $20 million in 24 hours. AUSA said, why are you testifying in this trial? Ventura said, I can't carry this anymore. What's wrong is wrong. I tried, people.
Cassie Ventura was telling the jurors that she had contacted Sean and asked him to delete these videos of the freak-offs that were on his phone. He said that he did. So that's what she was testifying to, saying that he told her that he did do that. But clearly those videos, and I talked about this earlier on Julie Grant's show, Ted, those videos we had heard in opening statements, they were going to be played in full for everyone to see that was going to be inside the courtroom. But now only the jurors are going to be able to see the video of those freak-offs. So they're going to have privacy screens on their monitors, so no one else will be able to see these. Obviously, just the jurors will be able to see video of those freak-offs. But some very important testimony today in talking about how Sean Diddy Combs was telling her he was basically going to keep the videos as blackmail in a way, but then told her he would delete them.
Yeah, it seems to be really progressing the government's case. The videos will be shown. Do we know details? Will they immediately be taken out of the courtroom, or are they just going to rely on these privacy monitors so that the jury can see it, so that then other people can at least see the reactions, from the jury and from Cassie? I mean, it makes sense. The state saying that, or the federal government saying she would be victimized again if these videos became public. Do we know any details in terms of how are they going to manage this without the overall goal of re-victimizing Cassie and the other witness?
That's a great question, Ted.
Okay, the jury is entering. Judge Subramaniam says, sorry to bring you out, only to send you home. Don't read anything about this case. Have a great evening. All rise. Jury exits. The judge says, Ms. Comey, AUSA Comey says, here's what the defense sent us about Rule 412. Okay, AUSA Comey says, we believe we had agreed that other sexual acts by the witness were not admissible, but we understand they intend to cross-examine her about other relationships with texts about sex, about Miss Ventura ucking someone else. Why is this necessary? Because they're trying to show her character. What do you think? See, this is what gets me right here. They act like they don't want anything that's dirt, any dirt on Cassie to be brought out. That's not fair. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. At the end of the day, they're supposed to challenge the credibility of the accusers. That's just what you do. Okay, so they don't want them to ask her. Remember, I told you guys they didn't want them asking Cassie or any of the S workers anything about their criminal history, about them doing illegal substances, or about them getting into any violent fights or any STDs and all that stuff. Like, why not? This is all crazy. So anyway, they want to introduce some stuff. I guess they're saying that Cassie was cheating and lying or whatever, but they want to pull all this out. And this is what they should be able to do, because Cassie sat there and acted like she was just this little angel and she never knew anything about sex until she met Diddy. Okay, but she was in a whole relationship with Ryan Leslie, so I'm not buying that. All right, so anyway, this whole case is nefarious, honey. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring upon the cross, but I know I'm here for it. Okay, so it looks like that's all of the updates. Hold on a second, because let's see here. She says, why is this necessary? AUSA Coleman says, I don't want to read these into the record, so I'll hand copies up. Judge says defense. Agnifilo says these are messages about jealousy in the vocabulary of, are you effing that person? That's fair game. This is the real world. Okay, the real world, the way people express hurt. All right then, honey. Tell him, Mark Agnifilo. I mean, whatever you think you can do to get Diddy out of this pot of boiling water that he's clearly jumped in, honey. But Diddy's not going anywhere but to prison, okay? Look at Don Joe said, I'm trolling today. I got time. Honey, you are not trolling in my chat. You better sit down. Okay? How you gonna be in somebody's chat talking about you trolling today? You got time. Let me go to outside the court. I'm gonna let you all finish up this video real quick. Now, we're not gonna finish this up. We'll finish this up tomorrow, honey, because we gotta see who's leaving the court. Hold on. Talking about I'm trolling today. I got time. I mean, it's the nerve for me. You are terrible.
Keep being lazy about cleaning your apartment. No, seriously. Home Aglow will clean it for just $9. Home
Tell him I said thank you, Nicole. That's so sweet. Okay, OG Patrice said, OG Patrice, I have to go back to your comment. That's not X trafficking. That is not S trafficking, beloved. You said, well, if Cassie called the S workers and they traveled crossing state line and Diddy paid for the services because he's the one with the money, that's S trafficking. No, that's not S trafficking. No, that's not. These S workers went voluntarily. S trafficking involves fraud, force, and coercion. These people were willing participants. They went across those state lines to get their money. They went to have SEX because they were being paid to do so. And if Cassie's the one that paid them and she's the one who called them and initiated it, then she's just as guilty as Diddy, whether she paid with his money or not. Because just like she got on the phone and called them, she could have gotten that phone and called the police, as far as I'm concerned. At the end of the day, that's not S trafficking. There was no fraud, force, or coercion. Those men admitted that they were taking money to go and do that stuff. That's what they were doing. Okay, and keep in mind, they're not the ones accusing Diddy. Cassie is. So they have to prove Diddy was trafficking her. I thought trafficking is when somebody pays you to have SEX with the person that you have under your wing, not that you pay them to do so. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, yeah, prostitution is against the law. It sure is. And that whole place that they were working at, Cowboys and Angels, or Angels and Cowboy, I wonder why that's still open. Okay, sounds like that should have been shut down, if you ask me, for solicitation of prostitution. Okay, well, I'm about to tune out of here. I was trying to wait to see who was going to be walking out, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and close out the broadcast. Let me go to another channel real quick. Hold on. Let me go to another channel and see. Let me see here. All right, guys, that's it. I'm tired. I'm about to be out of here. All right, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for staying tuned in. We'll be right back in the morning to do it all over again, honey. Okay, y'all know what time. Hold on. It looks like 2 more updates. Hold on. Let me see what they're talking about. Okay, so Cassie Ventura testified that Sean Diddy Combs continued to threaten her after the ending of their relationship. In messages from 2019, Combs told Ventura, "If I was you, I would get me my money." Ventura said that Combs wanted to be reimbursed because her current husband, Alex Fine, was formerly her trainer, her personal trainer, who Combs paid for. Combs also messaged her, "You will not be threatening me," and said that she had too many iPads full of skeletons. So he wrote this in all caps, "You will not be threatening me." So she must have threatened him with something, maybe to go to the police or whatever to sue. In the messages, Ventura said, "Do you want me to tell the truth? It's way deeper than iPads." Okay, there was way more than freak-offs. She testified in the court this afternoon. There was abuse. There was many things that happened over our relationship. Judge Aaron Subramanian has dismissed the jury for today. The defense will begin their cross-examination of Cassie Ventura tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The judge said the prosecution and defense need to resolve issues regarding the cross-examination before it even begins. Defense attorney Ana Estavio said she's expected to cross-examine, said she expects cross-examine to stretch into Friday. So she's going to have Cassie on the stand, drilling her all the way up until Friday. Okay, y'all, please pay attention. Okay, so that's it for now. All right, so starts at 9:30. So I'll be on by 9 o'clock at least. Okay, so you all make sure you tune in the morning. All right, shout out to the replay gang who'll catch this later. I love y'all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we DJ Big Six. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay, so until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Cont'd. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got